live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
It is VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, as we say hi. A couple of Game 5s, which I'll touch on, and then we'll set up the show properly. We say hi, 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. I'm Patrick Meagher, live from Los Angeles. We do have a Game 5 tonight. Oklahoma City most likely going to close out the series and await either the Knicks or Pacers. We'll get to the Knicks and Pacers here coming up in just a bit. But quickly, let you know about the number. It's 8.5 with Oklahoma City laying it. Gilgeous-Alexander coming off the 40-point game in Game 4. Right now, about 355, 360 on the money line, 221 on the total. And then you have a favorite on the road on the ice in Hockey Eastern Conference, Florida, Carolina. Florida's going to be about a $1.10, $1.20 favorite at Carolina. Carolina caught a sleeping Florida team in Game 4, beat them 3-0. My expectations would be the Panthers roar back, as that is what's on tap. Obviously, baseball and MLS soccer, if you're into that type of thing. As we do open up the program, Nia Hardman, New York City, a normal one. I will say that. We appreciate the normalcy. I appreciate the lack of stalking over there in New York City. And Nia Hardman, steady. Ryan Smith in Las Vegas running YouTube. You can find us on YouTube at VSiN Live. Give us a subscription. Let's get in that algo. And who's that? Who is that I see? Oh, that is Dustin Hennessy hanging out in Los Angeles. We learned of many new theories from Dustin yesterday, which we can run through. One is that he is in town in Los Angeles preparing for his Saturday Hermosa Beach, California, at Hennessy's with the Mad Dog Sports Radio meetup, which we look forward to. We should start with your Knicks, though. And the Pacers were the story last night. No offense to your Knicks. And really the masterpiece by Tyrese Halliburton was all that's being discussed. And the assist to turnovers were pretty good because he had, 12 assists, 15 assists, and no turnovers, 32 points. So 32, 12, and 15 for Halliburton. Halliburton as all of a sudden, and we're not going to use the term face of the league today. I'm so, Dustin, if you say it, I swear to God, I'm going to ask Nia to turn off your mic. I know, 50-50 co-hosts. Okay, whatever you believe. You can't say face of the league, all right? Don't do it. I don't understand it. I don't know what it means. But Tyrese Halliburton is entering that top 10 conversation. His performance last night, I mentioned it was a masterpiece. His Magnus Opus thus far. He was tremendous, and so were the Pacers, if we're being honest. They just get so many contributions from so many players, and the Pacers' key is the pace. And I think there is a discussion to have about Jalen Brunson, who the numbers continue to be there, but did you feel like he had an impact on the game? He certainly didn't have an impact on the game that we saw from Tyrese Halliburton. And there's something to be discussed within that. You and I were discussing Karl Anthony Towns earlier today, 24 and 12, but his performance for me can be kind of summed up with meh. Cat is meh. And that is certainly one of your obsessions lately. So your obsessions continue to be, Dustin, if you'd like to refute any of these. Who is the face of the NBA? Karl Anthony Towns using accents. Will Tyrese Halliburton's dad be at the game? You came up with a new theory on shtick. It's got to be not the main actor, but the side hustlers that are part of the shtick. And also, you're a coastal state guy while living in Nevada. Did I get anything incorrect as we await Hennessy's on Saturday?
Also, I have an update regarding Hennessy's. One positive piece of news, one negative piece of news. Neither involve me, but I think it's interesting what's going on there. I'd say, one, John Halliburton was at the game last night, and Tyrese was historic. So I do think there's some credence to when his father is there. He does play better. And then when it comes to the...
No, that's not true.
Well, it happened. And then...
it was one game, yeah.
But it did. I was proven right one time. And then for the, I'm not allowed to say this body part on the head, the front part of the head. It's not necessarily who is the face of the league. It's just that Anthony Edwards is not.
Okay. All right. By the way, we are going to get to some NFL. I don't know if you guys have been following the Stephon Diggs drama. The Stephon Diggs drama. So basically, he was with some trollops on a boat. Okay, let me just try to explain this. Chicks shaking that ass with potentially cocaine on a boat during OTAs. And today, the head coach of the New England Patriots, Mike Vrabel, came out and had to address it. Now, again, I'm not even being facetious when I say that running and general managing an NFL franchise is literally just like fantasy football. I've met the people. Trust me when I tell you they're throwing darts. But we told you when the Patriots, a young football team, signed Stephon Diggs that it was beyond dense. Like, who was in the front office looking around the NFL with a young quarterback thinking, Stephon Diggs might be the guy we should point to? And now they're pointing to a boat in the middle of the ocean with a bunch of, I guess, less than savory characters on it. And one of them is Stephon Diggs, and now the Patriots have to address that with an up-and-coming football team, and now obviously what's happening with him. So we shall touch on that. Terry Bradshaw versus Aaron Rodgers, we'll get to that. Will Howard wants to be the starter. Obviously, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, we shall touch on that as well. So that's where we start the program today. A couple of things before we get into tonight's game, because we don't have those until Spreitzer just texted us. I don't know what they're saying. We get text messages from guests. Here's the thing. And Scott Spreitzer is my favorite. Either you can do it or you can't do it. It doesn't matter to me either way. We'll do the show. We'll take calls, 888-623-3646. But the big guy has to deal with a lot of logistics when it comes to guests. I'm just starting to think we eliminate everybody at this point.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good with Scott. Scott's if he doesn't have internet.
First off, Scott, I love. That's not really who I'm talking about.
He's like the only one who will give me like a 2-week notice, like he's leaving a job. 2-week notice. Hey, I'm not available 2 Wednesdays from now. I'm like 2 Wednesdays from now. I don't even know what's happening in sports then. But you're right. It becomes a lot, and it's always the people that you don't expect to be a pain that should be grateful, the ones that are the most difficult.
Gratitude is one thing. That's what you're looking for. I'm just looking for people to either show up or not.
Okay.
You want some sort of internal validation from these idiots? I don't care about that. I just need to know whether or not you're coming on the show or not, like the donk last night, who we won't be having on the program again. that kid.
I'm trying to remember.
Michael Fiddle.
Oh.
I mean, that was just too much. I thought about it today. It was too much. I can't handle it. We got to get a good cadre of people on the program. You and I were discussing Oklahoma City and Indy. If that happens to be the NBA Finals, you will have the third smallest market in the NBA. The two smallest, whether 1,000 here, 1,000 there, would be New Orleans and Memphis. And then Indy's a lot smaller than you think, the 7th smallest market in the NBA. So silver right now is tripping because that's what's going to happen if we can get the updated price on the Knicks and Pacers. I know you had them in 7. I don't think you're completely dead, if we're being honest, because we're going. Yeah. I'm serious. We're going back for Game 5 to the Garden. They've won a game in Indianapolis. They do have home court, so they could go back to the Garden for a Game 7. That is on the table. Is it worth betting? That is the question. Let's see what the number is.
Well, right now, if you do believe the Knicks can make this thing interesting, they're plus 450 to win the series. You lay 600 when it comes to the Indiana Pacers. I have a weird feeling, man, like, not about the series, but I feel like I'm supposed to be outraged as a Knicks fan. I'm supposed to be yelling about how I'm embarrassed by the organization because they're losing to the Indiana Pacers, but I can't help but be impressed by Indiana. I can't help but watch them and go, I think that's how you're supposed to build an organization and run it back and let players grow together and find a system that fits them. And I think this may be controversial. Tyrese Halliburton is closer to being a superstar than Jalen Brunson.
Also, Karl Anthony Towns, his knee to be evaluated before Game 5. That's not a great sign. He was fine in the game with 24 and 12, though, I don't hate your take on Brunson, which I want to dive into in just a little bit. But again, you could have Oklahoma City and Indy. Well, most likely, Oklahoma City is going to close them out tonight. So 3rd smallest and 7th smallest. I do think that potentially could be an awesome awesome series because those are two very exciting, very fun, very pacey teams that go deep with young, burgeoning superstars, one being Tyrese Halliburton. Obviously, the role players have stepped up for Indy, and all of a sudden we're seeing, aside from the MVP and SGA, Jalen Williams is becoming a star. I think Chet Holmgren is becoming a star, specifically defensively. He's awesome. He can step out and hit a three. So I think it could be a very intriguing finals if we get there. It's just the NBA is going to lose their minds because it's not going to rate.
Yeah, it's two different conversations. One is two small markets that most casual people are probably not going to pay attention to. Then the other conversation is the basketball is going to be phenomenal. Both these teams are super fun. They like to get up and go. Both hit big shots, have had clutch moments. Indiana's become a better defensive team over the last 3 or 4 months here this season. I think the series will be great. The problem is what you mentioned with the ratings, with the markets. And it got me thinking about, like, in each sport, what is the worst possible small market matchup? And I jotted down a few that we can go through throughout the show that I think are funny if they ever happen, where, like, that league would be like, nope, you know what? We're done. Don't have the title game. We're not going to make any money on ad sales. That's the issue there. But when it comes to Oklahoma City and Indiana, I'm excited for the potential, but can the Knicks just make it Game 7? Just get to a Game 7 and make it a coin flip. That's my question with that.
All right, we can talk about those market matchups, 888-623-3646, but we should start with the appreciation of the Pacers. All right, let's settle in, focus a little bit here, VSiN Live. Last night, Halliburton, 32, 15 dimes, 12 rebounds. He didn't turn the ball over. And really, he was just dominant because if you watch the game, every rebound was pushed into an easy bucket. We've talked about Halliburton. They were just asking on PTI, as you and I were talking, Big Guy, is he a star? Well, of course, he is a star. His performance in this postseason in particular has been beyond clutch. He's been the best player in this series. Siakam was great with 30. Nesmith gave you 16. Nembhard, okay. McConnell off the bench. Turner was very good in the game. I'm just giving you an idea how deep they go. But really, everything starts with Halliburton, and that is the contrast with Jalen Brunson. So he matched him point-wise, as Brunson had 31, but the impact, and this is hard for me to admit because you know how much I got into Brunson. I know you love Brunson, too, as a Knicks fan. I talked to Adam Shine, his son Theo. Everybody loves, obviously, Jalen Brunson, and he's a spectacular player. But is he doing what Halliburton is doing for the Pacers? And I think unequivocally the answer is absolutely not. And that's the importance of a pure point guard. That really, the usage, the ball in his hands, how responsibly is he for your team's points? That goes to Halliburton, not Brunson. That's facts.
No, it's not even debatable. The problem with Brunson is he's not making everyone around him better. Now, are some of these guys missing open looks? Like the season on the line and Mikal Bridges taking 2 shots in 2 straight possessions was a wild strategy, but Brunson's not making anyone better. Halliburton consistently sets his guys up and puts them in great situations. I mean, only 1.5 turnovers per game in the conference finals for this guy. That's insane. 11th career game, 15-plus assists, no turnovers. And if I don't know if you know this off the top of your head. I had to Google it, and I was surprised by the number. How old do you think Tyrese Halliburton is?
Tyrese Halliburton, he was traded from Sacramento for the tall white
here.
Donk. Who was
Sabonis.
he traded for? Yeah, Sabonis, which was
Holiday
a terrible trade.
And Lamb. Yep.
Yeah. 26?
25. He just turned 25. By the way, if you want later, too, I went through this Indiana roster because I find the roster construction fascinating for a small market that's not a destination. How were they able to put this team together? I have how all their key players ended up coming to Indiana, and I think it's a blueprint for teams that are not destinations, that are not in the big markets, of how you put together a championship contender.
Yeah, I actually got the two mixed up, Nembhard and Mathurin. That's how deep they go, because Mathurin had 20 points off the bench last night. I always get Nembhard and Mathurin mixed up. Nembhard did nothing in the starting lineup, but Mathurin came off and gave you 20. If you, in the postseason, are getting 20 points off the bench, that's a team. That's a team.
No, and it's someone different every night. One night it's TJ McConnell. One night it's Obi Toppin with a bunch of big plays. they've just put together a really nice combination of guys that can play a bunch of different styles, but more importantly, they all play well together. Whenever they mix and match, whoever needs to go with the starters, go with the second unit. Everyone seems to feed off of each other really well there, where you look at the Knicks on the other side, everything gets bogged down with Brunson. Cat wants to play like he's a 6'5" shooting guard on the outside, and you never really know what their identity is on the offensive end of things.
You know, I was thinking about Brunson. You know where Brunson would be perfect? Brunson would be perfect in Dallas, Luka, the primary ball handler, and being a number 2. But I digress. That is, but it does feel like Brunson, ball in hand, ball dominant usage way up is where he becomes less and less effectual.
It's weird because I think his rise happened where he built up this mystique about him because he was ball dominant. But it was because he had to be. They didn't have anyone else healthy to score last year. He had to do that. Now they have other options. And if we're going to look at how Mikal Bridges has not lived up to the 5 first-round picks they traded for him, it's because they have never found a way to use him. Mikal Bridges doesn't go from being a very productive player in the NBA for the last few seasons to almost useless for the Knicks in the offensive rotation getting buckets. I don't understand how that happens. It only happens if you don't know how to properly use him, and you have to look at Jalen Brunson, the point guard, and not knowing how to work his friend into their system.
Well, he was a minus 16, and Halliburton was a plus 16. So points. So, again, the only player worse than Brunson was Robinson, a minus 20. But Brunson essentially has been killing this team. It seems almost counterintuitive to say it because he'll give you 31 points. He is the heart of the Knicks. Yeah. But he has been a detriment when he's been on the floor. We've talked endlessly about the fact that when he's sat during this series, the Knicks have gone on surges. And I think a lot of it has to do, like we saw that first game post-Tatum injury with the Boston Celtics, where the offense just opened up. There was a little bit of flow. You're seeing that right now with Brunson off the court. The antithesis would be what you're seeing when Halliburton sits. Now, they're a deep team, so they're fine. But when Halliburton's out there, it is very much orchestral. Orchestral, pardon me. He is very much a maestro. Everything is in control. He's dominating the flow of the game. He's just taking that next step. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, and what I noticed early on from Halliburton, he'll get his points in the first half, but there's been a few games here where he hasn't had much when it came to points at the break at halftime. And then when it matters, he kicks it up. But he makes it a point to get everyone else involved, believing he's capable at any point in time of calling his number in the game. Whereas Brunson, he's the one who's constantly having to get going for the Knicks. And I do believe he's their best scorer. I totally understand why it's happening, but there has to be a balancing act here. Brunson is not some physical anomaly that's meant to have the ball in his hands as much as he is. He needs a breather. They need to find ways to run an offense through someone else, and they look like they're just winging it in those moments when it's not Brunson running the point.
I was trying to also think, like, who's the last, maybe Brunson last year, to be fair, who's the last player, regardless of sport, come postseason time, that's had a bigger breakout than Halliburton's had this year?
Oh, like, because he's taken that next step from, like, good to star.
Well, also, even with the moniker of being the most overrated player by his peers.
True.
So,
True.
like, if his peers were to vote on it now, and I think a lot of it has to do with the off-the-court stuff, dancing on TikTok, marrying a white girl, whatever it is, whatever people get up in arms about today, the fact that he's a little zesty, whatever it is about him, maybe it's his dad, with you, big guy. I don't know what it is about Halliburton, but even the most ardent of haters at this point are just like, all right, is he top 10? Is he top 12? He is now in that discussion, and that's a glow-up that has happened over the past 6 weeks of this postseason.
Yeah, think about the moments he's had, the shots that he's created in just one postseason run, where it's like, this is why you build a roster, to find that superstar that can carry you in this way. He's doing it. I'm really struggling to think of some, like, Chris Middleton popped with Milwaukee when they won the title, but he's not a superstar.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of someone who took that superstar step in the postseason. And outside of Brunson that you mentioned, I'm struggling right now.
Like,
Pascal
for example,
Siakam?
the opposite, they just showed him on television. The opposite would be, yes, Karl Anthony Towns is a star. Excuse me, Anthony Edwards is a star. We're not pretending like he's not.
Yeah.
But he had a tremendous regular season, averaged 29 points, hit more threes than anybody, also took this team to the Western Conference Finals last year, and he's just 23 years old. Anthony Edwards is a spectacular basketball player, but his Q hasn't gone up this postseason like a Tyrese Halliburton. Like, that jump hasn't been as incremental. And so I just find what is happening with him fascinating.
Yeah, and I think actually that Tyrese Halliburton has closed that gap to Anthony Edwards. Edwards is still the better overall player, especially when you factor in the defense. But Halliburton's had some games with a lot of steals. He's made a lot of defensive plays as well. I think he's closing that gap into that tier that Anthony Edwards is in.
I kind of want to do this. Let's 888-623-3646. Let's just go top of mind right now because we have time until the game starts. So let's just give our top 12 players in the NBA. You're going to go Jokic 1. You're going to go SGA 2. There is no argument. That's 1 and 2. You're not going to disagree with that. All right? Jokic 1, SGA 2. Number 3, I think it's pretty clear it's Giannis.
Yeah. Because you can also make on his best day, he could be number 1.
Number 3 is Giannis. So Jokic, SGA, Giannis. That is not going to help. Americans are not going to be happy about the top 3. Because 1 is from Serbia, 1 is from Greece, and 1 is from Canada.
Well, that depends. Do we pay the tariffs, or do their native countries pay the tariffs?
Who would be number 4 on the current top 10, top 12 list in the NBA? I'll let you pick the next one.
Is it Luka?
Okay, we can put Luka on the list. Luka is number 4. Number 5. See, this is where your hating on Anthony Edwards starts to get a little dicey because he's going to be in that 5, 6, 7 range.
Oh, no.
Yes, he is.
No.
Okay, go. Then listen, you know more about sports than anybody. You tell me.
LeBron James at 40.
LeBron James is not better. No.
He is.
LeBron James? You'd start a team right now with LeBron James over Anthony Edwards?
No, but we're saying for one vacuum,
His
season?
career, absolutely much better. LeBron James at 41 next year, not better than a 24-year-old Anthony Edwards.
Then Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is better than Anthony Edwards. I know he's injured, but Jason Tatum's a better player than Anthony Edwards.
But you would agree Wemby is better.
Oh, yeah, and the upside is we don't even have a chart for it.
Okay, I'll put Tatum in there. Jason Tatum. All right. So we have Jokic, SGA, Giannis, Luka, Wemby, Tatum. That's 6. Number 7.
Devin Booker?
His team won 35 games.
That wasn't his fault. There's no one else on that roster.
You're gonna put Anthony Edwards just went to back-to-back Western Conference. See, this is. I was doing this before the show. It's a little bit harder. This is why I feel as though we were a little disrespectful yesterday on our buddy Anthony Edwards.
Would we go Donovan Mitchell? No, probably.
I think
not.
Mitchell's in the mix. You could put Mitchell.
He's in the conversation,
but he's not better than Ant. Ant's number 7. So we go
Kawhi?
Jokic, SGA, Giannis, Luka.
Steph Curry.
I'd put Steph. We'll put him in there. Steph. Okay. Jokic, SGA, Giannis, Luka, Wemby, Tatum, Ant, Mitchell, Steph. That's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, that's 9. Are we getting to Halliburton yet?
We're not quite there yet. Because it's Halliburton. He's played more games. And he's been in the league. Is Halliburton better than Cade Cunningham?
But to me, now we've entered the part of the discussion where if you're starting a team next year, Cunningham's younger.
Yeah.
But is he better than Halliburton? I think it's tough. I'd put Halliburton right now above Cade.
And then there's a bunch of weird veteran names that we wouldn't take if we're building a team because they're older, but current day, and you have to factor in health, so they're probably not.
Yeah, I mean, like your LeBron argument. I mean, but LeBron is 41 years old.
Well, no, I was
and
thinking
he doesn't play. He doesn't defend anymore. He doesn't.
I was thinking more like Kawhi and AD, but
Kawhi just so injured. KD, just too much going on. He was also on a 35-win basketball team. If you have Booker and KD on a team and you win that many games, I have to eliminate you from the discussion. And I love the players individually. I agree with when you brought up Booker, but I can't put him on. I can't put him above these players. I just can't.
Yeah, and then Maxi's probably in that next tier below as well.
Who did we have on that said Maxi is as good as It was Samic? Samic said Maxi was as good as Jokic and Steph and SGA in a late game situation?
He's good, but I don't think anyone's Steph.
Tyrese Maxey? He's a nice player. This is where people get drunk. Here's the point. Halliburton is a top 10, top 11 player in the
you
NBA
know what?
right now. And he was not that player coming into the postseason.
That's correct.
You see what I'm saying?
That's
so
correct.
this is a glow up like we haven't seen in a while. And you can have fun. Listen, I think you can't argue really the top 3. But like you said, we can start once you get to 4, 5, 6, 7. That's where you're also starting to realize there's a very big sea change in the NBA as far as those LeBrons, KDs, Stephs, those type of players are now being weeded out for the SGAs, for the Wembys, for the Ants, for the Mitchells, for the Cade Cunninghams, for the Tyrese Halliburtons. There's a really big what I've noticed in this postseason, there's a real big shift in a balance of power, not just amongst the teams at Oklahoma City, but amongst the players that we've now been watching for 15, 20 years.
Yeah, we're kind of in that, remember, right after Jordan, Allen Iverson era of the NBA, where it's like, who's next? Who takes over? There's a bunch of really good, potentially awesome young players. Which one ends up being that number one guy? We're in that next era for that, after that era ending with LeBron, we're now seeing whoever's coming up the pike.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating, too. I know people are going to get bitter if you put Luka in the mix, but Luka is absolutely – he just took a team to the finals by himself. So Luka has to be in that top 5.
And he hasn't even trained yet. Wait till he starts training.
The Wemby piece, he's 8 foot tall, and he does everything perfectly. I don't know how you wouldn't start a team tomorrow with Wemby outside of Jokic and SGA and Giannis.
If you had to bet your money that one of the names we just listed ends up being the face of the league for 10 years.
Oh, no.
It's Wemby. It's no one else.
All right, so you said it. I'm not even mad.
I said face. I didn't get it like that.
Because here's what I have a genuine question because I saw First Take. Dog was talking about face of the league.
Yes.
So what I'm over it, and I don't understand it. What do you all mean when you say face of the league?
I just mean the best player in the league.
Jokic.
That's it. Yeah. Like that level.
So why isn't face of the league discussed and like you just say Jokic and now what's the next topic?
But that's why I get weirded out by the Anthony Edwards thing. And their argument is it's next face of the league, but I still think after Jokic, there are people for him to pass in line. That's all.
But the face of the league, we're just saying best player.
That's how I view it. I think other people may view it as marketability, winning championships, consistently like in the zeitgeist on TNT. Like they're the player that always has national games every week. I think that's what people are going for. To me, it just comes down to dominance and being the best player. Right now, it's Jokic. And, oh, by the way, it could very well still be Giannis. He's like 30 years old. He could still have 5 more years of being an MVP player.
All right, so let's throw it out there. We'll come back and take the calls on this. We've got him top 10, top 11, Tyrese Halliburton, as we sit here today on the Lord's Day, May 28, 2025. Jokic, SGA, Giannis, Luka, Wemby, Tatum, Ant, Mitchell, Steph. And then we've got Halliburton and Cade in some order. That feel right? We've left out LeBron. We've left out Kawhi. We've left out KD. Those are dicey. I don't know how to handle those 3.
Well, it's because they're not getting better. At least with all the other ones you listed, there's potential growth. Outside of, Jokic and Giannis, I don't see how you become better than they are right now. Maybe they can. I don't know. But it feels virtually impossible. The rest of the list is still young enough where we have not seen their best basketball yet, and they're great.
All right. So are we prisoners of the moment? 32, 12, and 15 with no turnovers last night and a hell of a 2-month run by Halliburton? Or is he legitimately modern right now a top 10 player in the NBA? 888-623-3646. And also, let's get your thoughts on the spread tonight. Oklahoma City laying 8.5. I know the big guys got some props. We can get those in as well because the spread ain't that interesting, if we're being completely honest.
No.
Something else that has been fascinating has been the scoring. The scoring last night, this feels like old school basketball, and I'm talking before the bad boy Pistons, like when it was just freewheeling. These totals are getting crushed right now, so we can have that discussion as well. Halliburton, where does he rank for you off a masterpiece last night against the Knicks? It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, I think we've stumbled upon something with this trying to avoid the face of the league conversation and how good Halliburton is, and we'll get into that in just a second. Just quickly, you can become a VSiN Pro. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe. It's $19, gets you everything we offer. Use the promo code SIRIUS. Again, you want to bet the games tonight. You want to bet the Belmont coming up, golf, anything you want. VSiN.com/subscribe, promo code SIRIUS. So we were just having, again, it was a masterpiece, and we can be prisoners of the moment, but Halliburton has been that good in the postseason, 32-12, 15 assists, no turnovers last night. So we started thinking, is he a top 10 player right now? The names that are starting to get weeded out where it gets weird is LeBron, Kawhi, KD, even like a Jimmy Butler. No, we just saw it in the last series. Harden has never had postseason success. So you mentioned two names that we thought a couple of years ago it'd be sacrilegious not to involve in this list. One being Zion. You can't put him near the top 10. And the other being Ja. Ja has slipped, whether it's the off-the-field stuff or whatever. He is just not the same player. So we went Jokic, and the three are absolutes, and then it starts to get interesting. Jokic, SGA, Giannis. Okay, then in whatever order you want, Luka, Wemby, Tatum, Ant, Mitchell, Steph Curry, Tyrese Halliburton, Cade, Cunningham. The names that would follow, I guess you could say like a Banchero, a Brunson, but that starts to prove our point. I had Brunson way higher on the list coming into this year. I had Brunson way higher in the list coming into the postseason. I do think Brunson's been exposed, and I think the Halliburton piece has been elevated.
Yeah, I think this is highlighting that there's a lot of guys in the NBA that are supposed to be carrying the torch that aren't, because I'd also add Joel Embiid is a name who is still in his prime, who's recently won an MVP, but he can't stay on the court. So you can include him, but the NBA for a while there, and he was pushed with that agenda to win the Most Valuable Player award. He was pushed as a guy that was going to be that face, that best player in the league. He's not even in the top 12 conversation anymore.
I'll tell you one that's really stood out to me in the post. Mitchell was asked to do everything for the Cavs, and I thought he was spectacular. I thought he proved this year, I don't know where he is in that top 10, but he is certainly a one go-to guy that can be the dude for a championship team. That's my estimation.
You know what I love? When people try to knock a player like Donovan Mitchell, and they go, yeah, but he's undersized and he can't defend. Well, if he scores 40 points in a game, it doesn't matter the defense he's playing, because odds are the guy going against him isn't going to drop 40 also. So if he's capable of going off like that, I can put up with lackluster defense on the perimeter.
Yeah, 888-623-3646. It's just a weird time as well as we were. And again, you can kill our list. It doesn't matter. We're just having fun with this, talking Halliburton, some sort of context. But what I find fascinating is just the passing of the guard. If you have Oklahoma City and Indiana in the finals this year, well, that starts to eliminate the regulars we've seen, whether it be Steph and the Warriors, Jokic in Denver, obviously the Celtics. You mentioned Embiid. Seems like Philly had been floating around for a while. So we're starting to see a change as far as the player and change as far as the team in modern-day basketball this year, 2025. So let's get to the calls, 888-623-3646. And, again, we're stalling a little bit because we do have a game coming up. It's probably going to tip. Do you know when, big guy? It's probably going to tip.
Yes.
It's slated for 5:30 with the Timberwolves and Thunder. Probably 5:45.
Yeah, the sportsbook says 5:40, so generally speaking, between 5:40 Pacific, 8:40 East, and 45, somewhere in that range, somewhere in the middle, they'll end up doing it.
I'd be bitter if I was on the East Coast. That's for sure with my old ass.
That's late. That is late to start this thing.
Let's go to Dave in Jersey talking about the players with the ascendance of Tyrese Halliburton. Hey, Dave.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's up, Dave?
So I'm listening to you guys talking about Tyrese and saying how this is a good player who has raised his game up to where he's now a superstar. And I'm thinking of somebody else who did that last year who hasn't even been mentioned by you guys yet, and that's Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown last year took over the playoffs, MVP of the finals, and he's going to be in that mention of top 10 as well.
Brown, okay, let's think about Brown. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Where would Brown fit in? I have a bias against him, but I have to be fair. He was awesome in the he was awesome in the postseason last year. Can he be your number one go-to guy without being able to dribble? That's where you start to question things.
That's what I thought. No, but all right, you're right. We should be fair because when he's asked to be the number one in the times where Tatum's not on the floor, he does put up pretty eye-popping stats.
Brown's I'd put Brown right now. Would I want him running my team over Cade Cunningham? No.
No. We're talking the 15 or lower, 15 to 20 at best, at absolute best.
Would I take him over Ja? Yes. Would I take him over Zion? Yes. Would I take him over Butler? Yes. Would I take Jaylen Brown over Jalen Brunson? I would not.
Tyrese Maxey.
I would not. I would take Brown.
Devin Booker.
Booker leaves. Booker's. He is a box score warrior.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's just never come to fruition when talking about Booker. And I love Booker. Booker's he's a Michigan guy. Love the guy.
Hey, this is a weird conversation. I'm going to throw this out. Jaylen Brown in Boston, really good player. Gets a lot of attention. Would you take him over Paolo Banchero? I can run my whole offense through Paolo Banchero.
Yeah, see, I don't think Dave's crazy. And again, I have to be fair here when talking about Brown because I probably have missed on him more than any other player. So I'm just trying to be completely fair.
He's a great defender too. You have to factor
Brown.
He's
Brown. You know what,
defender.
Brown. He's not. He's no further than 14 or 15.
He makes it difficult with some of the things he can't do on the offensive end. Just in terms of the ball movement, but he can shoot a little bit. He gets buckets. He's athletic.
Streaky.
He's probably younger than we think. How old do we think? 27, 20 something, somewhere around there. Let's see, Jaylen Brown, 28. He's 28.
Yeah, he's a great player. I've been hard on him just because, again, if you're asking, like you said, like a Banchero, like a Cade, like a Tyrese, like somebody that like a Donovan Mitchell, can he just with that handle take over a basketball game when asked to do so much with the ball in his hands usage wise? I don't know that answer about Brown.
You know,
I think in pockets he can.
And I think the mention of Mitchell accentuates that because Mitchell can just dribble all around everyone all day long and beat you off the dribble.
I think the brilliance of Brown highlights maybe that Tatum's underrated.
Okay.
And by the way, I don't know how far Derek White is out of this conversation.
You know, I thought that would be a crazy name to bring up, but I love Derek White. Derek White's made a lot of big plays, and if he ever has opportunities, he puts up stats.
As we go through this, we might be in a period in the NBA where there's more good players than in any other era. Like from top to bottom, from 1 to 15, there's probably better players. There are inarguably better players in the NBA, more athletic players, but I don't know if we have 20 absolute superstars. I don't believe that to be the case.
And to go with that, the floor is so high in the talent level of these rosters right now, and look who potentially, if things go the way we think they are, Indiana and Oklahoma City would meet in the finals. Neither are super teams. Neither traded to get a big three, right? Depth matters. Because the floor is so high on every roster now, you have to have 4 or 5 guys off the bench that are at a certain talent level. When you sacrifice that, like the Phoenix Suns, in the name of having a loaded superstar starting lineup, you lose that depth, and in today's NBA, that just doesn't play.
You take your stance on Ant. I am going to have a bit of a mea culpa on Anthony Edwards. He's 23. He averaged 28, 5.7 boards, 4.5 assists, and shot almost 40% from 3 this year. He is hardcore top 6.
But okay. But real quick, I'm just going to ask it to you this way. Who is the current face of the NBA?
Dude, you're killing me. Jokic, he's the best player.
All I'm trying to say is to just say he's next. There's a lot of people in the way. He's in the conversation.
Forget the face thing. Forget the face.
Being the best player in the league?
No, at no point did I just say Anthony. I said 6 or 7. 5, 6, or 7.
That's fair. Totally fair. Totally fair.
I do not think he's better. We know he's not better than SGA, but SGA is probably, 3 or 4 years older?
And I'll come to your side of the argument on this one. Because of his age, if we're going to do the start a franchise tomorrow, you have 15, 10, whatever it is, he's in the top 2 or 3. And that's
here is
why
the
people
most
say
here
that.
of our top 10, top 12 players. Here is the most spectacular name, and there's really no argument. Steph Curry. Nobody's going to disagree he's a top 10 player, and he's 37 years old.
Well, he's the last piece of that group that we put off to the side, the LeBron, the Kawhi, AD, Harden group. He's the last one still playing at the level that he's always played at.
He's spectacular. Because I'm guessing he's the exact same age as Durant.
Ooh, that's a good call.
And I he's better than Durant at this point, in my opinion. And Durant had a wonderful scoring season.
37, so I think you're right.
When Steph is off the court, as much as he's used and what he means to that offense with the cutting, with the ball handling, with the assists, it's just a different player than a KD. There's just no way to argue it. Yeah, they're both 37. You all right?
Yeah, same year, 1988.
Yeah. Let's go to our buddy Jeff in Chicago here, VSiN Live. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, gentlemen. I have 3 points, and I want to get your insight on each one, so bear with me.
Go for it.
I called 2 weeks ago when the Knicks were in the series with the Celtics, and everybody loved Jalen Brunson, right? Me included. And now, the dude is not good enough. He's not the player that everybody wants him to be. So it's funny how narrative changes through a series and through a season. So I think that's just interesting. But to get to your point about the Pacers, their best player, he's done the same thing all year. He has done the same, and I'm not a fan of his, but he's a hell of a damn player. And he needs to be, in the top players in the league for sure. So, and Patrick, to your point, who would I take at this point? Cade Cunningham is one of the best players in the league. He doesn't play on the best team, but if you want to start a team with one of the best players in the league that's available, he is right up there in the top 5 for sure. And second, Maxey. I mean, give me somebody that wants it as bad as Cade Cunningham. I mean, those two guys are right up there as young players that want it and want to win. I would take those two over anybody else, but
yeah, I would agree. The Maxey piece is a good one because I'm just thinking when Philly was making their runs, the killer on that team was Maxey, and he's young too.
Yeah.
I think the Cade Edwards conversation is interesting because they're both 23 years old, and my personal preference when building a team, I want to know I have an orchestrator. I want to know I have that player that is going to make everybody better. And right now, that's just not Anthony Edwards. To be fair to Edwards, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are a great defensive team, an all-time great defensive team, are absolutely focused on him. So,
yeah.
And this is back-to-back Western Conference Finals. Again, I've come around on Ants after killing them over the past week. I think the one that's lost the most shine, and Jeff said it, is Brunson. Brunson has been exposed. We're not saying Brunson isn't an amazing basketball player. He's incredible. But when asked to do as much as a Halliburton or others, a Steph, he's just not that.
But those guys are also making those around him better. Brunson's not doing that with the style they're using him in that offense. So there has to be adjustments made. And while there are physical limitations at play when it comes to Brunson as well, why those other guys have a bigger upside where Brunson's 6 feet tall. These other guys are a lot longer. They're capable of scoring at different angles than Brunson has to use. So I just think when we look at Brunson, I hate to say it, but is there a chance some of the numbers and some of the moments that he's had over the last calendar year were basically because there weren't a lot of other scoring options on the team, and they relied on him, and he had to do that? Now that there are other guys who can score, some of that shine is worn off.
Where did Halliburton go to college? Why can't I remember?
Iowa State.
Oh, that's right. We should go through that draft.
Oh, it's a fascinating
I'd be very
draft.
curious to see. I know he slipped a little bit, but we should go through that draft. 888-623-3646. Halliburton has forced us today to start focusing on the best players in the NBA. Dare we say face? No. We can't say that. We understand that the face is not going to – I think people want it to be a Jordan, like a LeBron, an American, obviously. But the best players in the world right now are Jokic, SGA, and Giannis. And then Luka's in the mix somewhere in there as well.
And you know why the draft for Halliburton's fascinating? Because the guy who went number 1 in 2020, Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. Who
Same draft
again,
class.
Yeah, that's tremendous. We'll run that draft at some point during the show. Where do you have Halliburton? And also, we still have, goodness, we've got close to an hour.
Dude, what
until
are they
this
doing?
game. We've got 50 minutes until this game tips off, but we want to get your bets in. Oklahoma City laying 8.5. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Well, Nia just told us we do have the rant from Dog today on First Take yelling about Anthony Edwards. And then we also have Vrabel coming up talking about Stephon Diggs. He's on a boat. So we'll get to that coming up. But we're talking about Tyrese Halliburton. And the Halliburton thing, also, it's not just the no turnovers, because that's what you're looking for from the guy with the ball in his hands, obviously. It's not just the 15 assists, but it's how you can tell. Maybe you said it a little bit earlier. At the beginning of the game, it's almost like he's not even looking to get his. He is just – he's very dialed in and making sure that his team is in it, ready to go. And that's kind of what I want, and that's why we've got him right now. Number 10. Let's continue. We had Steph in the mix, and Max in Oakland wants to discuss Steph. Hey, Max.
Hey, how you doing?
Good,
Big fan
Max.
of the show. This is my first time
buddy.
calling in.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just want to get your thoughts. Who you think's better right now, Steph or Halliburton?
I see. I'm hard. Like it's like talking Jaylen Brown. I'm hard if you bring up Steph. I have a hard time thinking anybody. What happened to Golden State when he wasn't on the court? It's not just Steph's ability to shoot the three. It's his ability to work off ball to get open. It's his ability to set up his teammates. It's everything. Steph's better right now. Steph's an all-time great, but Halliburton's 25 years old. So there's a 12-year age difference.
You said the off-ball thing, and that I think that highlights the Jalen Brunson issue, is that Steph can do it on the ball, do it off
Correct.
the ball, any style he's ready to play.
Yeah, that's a good one, because Brunson, when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, how is he impacting your team?
Yeah,
that's a good question. Our buddy Aaron Halterman joins us next. Predictions on the game tonight: Thunder hosting the Timberwolves. 8.5 is the number. It's a VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, the Stanley Cup playoffs are on SiriusXM tonight at 8 Eastern. Listen to Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final between the Florida Panthers and the Carolina Hurricanes. With the Panthers win, they can advance to the Stanley Cup Final. The Florida feed is on Sirius 211, XM 220. The Carolina feed is on Sirius 210, XM 219. And the national broadcast is on NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. You can also listen to all the action on the Sirius XM app as we welcome you back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Maher, Nia Hardman, Ryan Smith. The whole crew is here. And we're going to welcome in our buddy Aaron Halterman, VSiN host, racingdudes.com. Dustin brought up something. I didn't even think about this. So Halterman and Welch and the racingdudes.com crew are going to be at the Belmont. Remember, the Belmont's at Saratoga. What we should recognize is what a part of the country that is. First off, Saratoga is just legendary, iconic. But Dustin asks, have you ever made the drive from Saratoga to Cooperstown, which is like an hour? Apparently.
It's hour 40. I just looked.
Okay, hour 40 minutes. This is for sports fans because I've been many, many times. If you haven't been to Cooperstown, New York, you're probably missing out on the greatest slice of Americana that exists in our country. It is just when you close your eyes and you think of the founding fathers. I'm talking James freaking Monroe, Halterman. When you close your eyes and you think of America, old saloons, and then the greatest Hall of Fame that exists on the planet, that is the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Cooperstown is lit right there on a beautiful lake. Halty, you've got to make the drive.
You're right. You're absolutely right. It is my fault. Like I said before, though, I usually don't have a car when I go to Saratoga. We fly in, we Uber places. You stay right downtown. You can walk to the track and everything. So, but I do. And I'll say this. I never knew about upstate New York until I met my wife, and so I never knew all the cool places that were actually there. Like Cooperstown sounds amazing. Go to Lake Placid if you ever go up to upstate New York. I mean, that's an unbelievable place to go as well. Just like the Adirondacks are really cool. So that is one thing, being from Missouri, I never thought about that. When you think of New York, you think of New York City, but the state of New York itself is really awesome.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, so I grew up in New York, and everyone assumes it's, you grew up in the city. No, where I looked in the city, or where I lived outside the city, it was an hour and a half away drive in Orange County, New York, and I moved to Georgia. Literally, the highways looked the same. It looked like country and mountains. Yeah. It was people just think in New York, the island of Manhattan's this big on the map. The rest of the state's massive. There's a lot of other stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Here's what I'd say about Cooperstown. It's not just that the museum is a museum. It's almost like the entire town was preserved in the time period when the museum was made. It is like going back in time. That is my cell job. And
you feel like a gunfight's going to break out. Yeah. You feel like there's going to be a duel at midnight. Maybe
Paul Revere's going to drive by.
Yeah, maybe Halterman and Samich finally take it out on each other. As we welcome in Aaron Halterman to the program. Let's start with, because we've got no. Let's start with the hockey because we're about to go with Florida. They took a game off. They took game 4 off. They were bored off their ass. Carolina wins 3-0. $110 on the Panthers tonight. What are you doing with this one?
Yeah, I have to play the Panthers in this spot. I just have to. They're just the better team. And you kind of said it. Game 4, they kind of got lulled to sleep is what I would say, because if you've watched this Carolina team, the one thing they're extremely disciplined. They're extremely defensive. They're kind of going to play a slow game. It's basically like if you watch hockey in the 90s, like the trap is what they called it. That's kind of like the New Jersey Devils, how they won their Stanley Cups. That's kind of what Carolina does, like the modern version of that. And they can lull you to sleep. And I think the Panthers got caught up in that a little bit. They didn't quite have that energy that you saw in the first 3 games where they were getting every loose puck and creating those chances off of turnovers and things like that. And they got in a 1-0 game, and Carolina can beat you in a 1-0, 2-1 type of game. But yeah, I'm going to go with Florida here. It's priced right. That's the other thing. Like, listen, I don't think there's any way, shape, or form when these two teams play, it's a toss-up, and that's how it's priced. I think Florida's just the better team. And the biggest thing is, guys, okay, yeah, Florida's on the road. that doesn't, who cares? Like, they have been so good on the road. They've been better on the road than they have been at home. So yeah, I'm back in Florida tonight. I think they get it done. I think they end this thing in 5.
You were on Florida well before the postseason began. There's still plus money in the futures market to win the Cup at plus 105. Some things have changed when it comes to Dallas and Edmonton, injury to Hyman and all that. How do you feel about them doing what you expected them to do, which is win the Cup?
Oh, I think plus 105 is too short on it now. I wouldn't bet that now. I think, like last week, I think they were plus 150 when we talked about it. And I thought, yeah, it's okay. But the other thing, and you said it, some things have changed, and we'll talk about the Oilers, but man, they're playing awfully well again. And boy, does it kind of feel like it's going to be Edmonton, Florida rematch. And maybe Edmonton is the team that's going to get it done. Maybe it is Connor McDavid's year, as good as they're playing right now. So, but still, look, I think Florida is still the team to beat, but now we're approaching that number where it's just like, you know what? It's just not right to bet it at plus 105. You might wait and see, maybe they get down a game in the first round or in the Stanley Cup Finals, and then that price might balloon a little bit, and you play them if you still believe in them. So you might just kind of lay off actually playing them to win the Cup now, because that price has gotten a little bit low. But I think this is a critical game for them, to be quite honest. Not that I think they're going to blow this series. They need to win. They've got some guys banged up. Get as much rest as you can. It would be very beneficial for Florida to get this W and get that extra rest and not have to go into a game 6. So I think it's a big game for them in that standpoint. The ultimate goal to win the Stanley Cup. I think winning tonight and getting a little bit more rest would be very beneficial for Florida.
Elsewhere, the Edmonton Oilers are peaking at the right time. And they got an original goal or an initial goal from Draisaitl, but then it's just everybody else right now. Whether it's Perry, Skinner had 28 saves, a 4-1 win over Nugent Hopkins has been awesome. Aaron, a 4-1 win over Dallas. They take a commanding 3-1 series lead. I've been doubting the Oilers the whole entire run. Specifically doubted them against the Stars, and they've completely proven me wrong.
I'll be a little long-winded with this, because this is unbelievable what they're doing. And listen, whether you talk to you or myself or Samich, we all kind of said the same thing in the Vegas series and also in the Dallas series. Hey, the goaltending's not that great. They're not that deep. The defense is pretty weak. And then you look up and it's like they're shutting out Vegas in games 4 and 5. They shut them out. They won game 5, 1-0 in overtime. But then you go, oh, Vegas, they just sucked. What's wrong with them? Then you fast forward to the Dallas series. Okay, other than 6 minutes of the first game, they totally dominated Dallas. Now, that 6-minute stretch, you can't take it away. Dallas went crazy. They won the game because of it. Game 2, dominate them. Game 3, dominate them. Game 4, dominate them. And not only that, they're not winning 6-5. They're shutting them down. Now Dallas, who has no trouble scoring in the first 2 rounds, they can't score. And so you look there and you go, yeah, okay, the goaltending's weak. Actually, he's playing really well. Yes, we know he has a tendency to give up 6 goals a game, but he also has games where he's shutting out and giving up only 1 goal. And you go, the defense, it's weak. Yeah, but you look and you're like, okay, yeah, they're giving up shots, but they're all from the blue line. Like, they're overachieving, and they're kind of just playing better than what we kind of think they are. And yeah, it's just kind of time to forget it. Like, after game 1, it was just like, you know what? Yeah, they got beat, but they kind of dominated the game if you know hockey and you watch it. And then after that, they've kind of shown, yeah, they're the better team. So long story short, I said I was going to be long-winded. Sorry, but I've always kind of said they're not very good, but it's time to say they're really good, right? So, and going into game 5, you're getting plus 115 on them now. I just kind of feel like, look, they're the underdog. They're the better team. I think Dallas's best game was game 4, so maybe they get over the hump and win game 5 and force their game 6. I'm not going to bet them as a favorite, though. Give me Edmonton. Give me the plus money with them. I think they ended in 5. And even if they don't and Dallas wins game 5, I have a lot of respect for Dallas. I think they're done in the series. I don't think they're coming back, even if they kind of get this thing to 3-2. I don't think they're going to Edmonton and winning, so I think it's going to be a rematch, Edmonton and Florida.
What about the total tomorrow? 5.5. It's juice minus 130 to the over. And when we talk about Skinner, he's on a heater, but again, he's still Stuart Skinner. So at some point, does he go back to being himself? Dallas is at home. Would you think about doing anything with the over? I know you do a lot of first period unders. Would you think maybe the over there?
I think it goes over tomorrow. I think it's a little bit more of an open game tomorrow because oddly enough, and this is a weird thing to say, but if you watch the games, you kind of realize it. Dallas needs to open it up. They need to kind of get in an up and down game with the Oilers. And look, I think for Dallas, the big key, if they can get to the net tomorrow and they can get kind of more of those high quality shots instead of just, I think what their theory was like, just throw pucks on the net. He's going to give them up. And he's been making a lot of saves. I think tomorrow they got to come out and try for the high quality chances. Forget about getting 35 shots. Get 25, but make sure they're quality shots. And I think that's what they're going to try to do. So I lean towards the over in all things tomorrow in that game. I lean the under in this game tonight, but in this one tomorrow, I'm going to go with the overs. I kind of think Dallas is going to try to get up and down the ice and try to make it a 4-3, 5-4 type of game, which, the stereotype is, oh, that'll favor Edmonton. But we've seen it, guys. When the games are low scoring and tight, Edmonton's been winning those games. So I think Dallas tries to open up. They've got the guys that can do it. So I think that's what they're going to try to do.
Might have a rematch of last year's Stanley Cup final, of course, with the Florida Panthers. Winning Lord Stanley last year could be Edmonton. Looks like it is going to be Edmonton and Florida again this year. Aaron Halterman joining us. He is in the Ozarks. So let's go to Oklahoma City. And they lead 3-1 over the T-Wolves in the series. They are laying a price tonight, 8.5. Expectation, obviously, they're going to win. Are you going to do anything with the game tonight?
I had a hard time laying the 8.5. I just feel like that is a lot of points for a Western Conference final game 5. I will say this. I would take, if you're going to take a side, I would take Oklahoma City. I felt like, last year, of course, got beat in the second round. I feel like this year, they've kind of taken some steps, right? They really passed the test, winning game 5 and game 7 against Denver. In games where it looked like it might have been kind of shaky and they were able to do it, I thought they really passed another big test. Game 4 in Minnesota. After that game 3, where I've never seen them play that bad all year. I've just never, they were awful. To come back, and I thought really took Minnesota's best shot. I thought the Timberwolves played about as good as they could play. Their role players were really good in that game, and they held them in it. For Oklahoma City to go ahead and beat them and kind of keep them at bay the whole game, keep about a 5-point lead the whole game, I thought that was a huge step, that this team is really maturing. They didn't lose that game, and now it's 2-2, and now we're in a struggle. So I would take Oklahoma City minus the 8.5 if you had to take a side here. I also kind of lean the over. I think it was 220 the last I looked. I think Oklahoma City is going to come out and they're going to score tonight, and I think they're going to get the over as well. The over is kind of my stronger play than the side because 8.5. Look, it's a lot of points, but when you look at what Oklahoma City did the first 2 games, other than the first half of game 1, they kind of controlled those games at home. I think getting back home, it's going to be nuts. I mean, the atmosphere is going to be crazy in there. I see a big start early from Oklahoma City. I think they get ahead. I think they stay ahead. I'm going to take the Thunder.
Aaron, I was looking at, because I'm potentially going to San Diego to go to Petco Park for the first time. And I was thinking about NBA arenas that I would want to actually go travel to watch a game in person. And for some reason, Oklahoma City jumped to the top of the list in my brain. And as someone who's been there, can maybe explain to a national audience, why are we all sleeping on, one, the game experience and maybe Oklahoma City as a good spot to go hang and watch a ball game?
It is very, very underrated. I would venture to say, I've only been to 3 or 4 NBA arenas. I would venture to say it's very different than anywhere else. It's look, Oklahoma as a state is a college state, right? We didn't have any pro teams until Oklahoma City got there. So you got Oklahoma State fans and you got Oklahoma fans, and they're used to college type atmospheres. And that's what that is. That is a college atmosphere. When you go to Oklahoma City Thunder game, it reminds you of going to, like I said, just like the things they do at halftime and the things they do in between timeouts reminds you of like a college game that you're going to. So it's a very rowdy crowd. They're like I said, they're the only pro sports team in Oklahoma City. So it's a very proud, crowd. They love the Thunder. Even when the Thunder weren't very good, they loved them, right? And they were there. So that's kind of the first thing. It's just a very festive atmosphere, a college-like atmosphere. It's crazy. Like for the playoff games, they give out shirts, and literally every person actually puts the shirt on when they go in. So the white out or the blue or whatever, it's always really strong. So The arena itself is they're building a new one and they need to. It's really not very impressive, but it's the crowd, it's the atmosphere, and it's weird. Like Oklahoma City is it is a like a quote unquote city, but it feels like it's pretty small, right? Like it feels like just like a town when you're going to it. There's Bricktown, which is a minor league baseball stadium, and like bars and stuff. Really chill atmosphere before you get to the game. A lot of places you go have a beer and have fun before. So it's just a very different vibe for a pro franchise. That's the best way I could put it. But again, it's like a college vibe and just a lot of fun outside. And look, there's no traffic hardly when you go. Like you just kind of you pull into the parking lot and you're there, and it's very like limited stress going to a game there.
Shouldn't be traffic. It is the third smallest market in the NBA, Oklahoma City. So you can get in and you can get out. Great point about a college town where every time you turn on an Oklahoma City game, it's a whiteout because they're not too cool for school. Like Miami or these bigger cities where it's like they want to be seen. Like everybody in Oklahoma City is like, free shirt? Yes. Yeah. Let's go.
We don't have any celebrities, right? Like that's the other thing. Like there's nobody going to the game that doesn't want to put the shirt on.
Who would be the Oklahoma City Chamalay and Ben Stiller and Spike Lee on the wood? I don't even know.
It's like Bob Stoops would probably be the biggest celebrity at the Thunder game. You know what I mean? I mean,
that's rough.
We laugh, but like, who would it be? Well, I guess like, Blake Griffin, he's from Oklahoma City. If he went to the game, somebody like that, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Bob
I found a list on the internet that claims that Bill Hader and Beyonce may be Thunder celebrity fans.
Beyonce's from Houston.
Yeah. Bill Hader? Bill Hader's from Oklahoma, I guess.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess New York has you covered there.
Yeah.
Let's do this. We are underway in Carolina, and you mentioned it's been an under series. Nothing, 16-21 to play. We'll see if they open it up a little bit there. The Panthers ended up closing like $1.25-ish. So earlier this morning, you could lay $1.10. So obviously the Panthers got bet as we got closer to this game. Aaron Halterman, RacingDudes.com. Also the race to the track. What? Now Dustin just tricked my brain. The road to the no.
VSiN at the track.
VSiN at the track. The road to the Belmont. Every Friday, Aaron Halterman, Mike Samich on our YouTube page, VSiN Live, 11:15 West, and they're in the chat. It's so much fun. 2:15 East, and then a proper broadcast coming up on Belmont Saturday. You are going to be attending the Belmont at Saratoga for RacingDudes.com. Let's talk about the scuttlebutt leading up to this. It's almost crazy how it's worked out with journalism, obviously in the Preakness, and then Sovereignty in the Kentucky Derby facing off here. Let an audience know what we've missed so far with a little bit more than a week to go.
Yeah, it is really setting up to be a great matchup between those two horses. Of course, Sovereignty was able to beat Journalism in the Kentucky Derby, pretty much fair and square. Not a lot of excuses there. It was a wet track, but still, it felt like Journalism ran his race and got beat. However, Sovereignty did not run in the Preakness, but Journalism did, and he won in unbelievable fashion. It was one of the most incredible performances in racing history. He basically got body checked. He got stopped. It looked like he had no chance, and then he re-rallied with a furious rally to get the job done. So those are the two headliners going in to the Belmont. Can Journalism turn the table? Can Sovereignty win? And it's like, wow, he won 2 out of 3 legs of the Triple Crown and didn't even try the Preakness, which would kind of be a downer. Or Journalism could win and you go, wow, he won 2 out of 3 legs and he just barely lost the Derby. So storylines galore there, kind of that rubber match, and kind of something that the casual fan is even kind of getting excited about. Is like, wow, we're going to see these two great horses. And not only that, guys, but we have a horse named Baeza who was 3rd in the Kentucky Derby and was closing really fast after getting out late. He didn't get the desired trip. He's going to the Belmont. So you got the top 3 horses from the Kentucky Derby going to the Belmont, and that's going to be quite the matchup there. Bob Baffert's probably going to be there with a horse named Rodriguez, who kind of had a little bit of a foot injury, couldn't run in the first 2 legs. Probably would have been bet pretty hard if he did. Sounds like the Belmont's going to happen for him. So he adds another element to this thing. Can Bob Baffert sneak in and steal the last leg of this Triple Crown? So those 4 horses are kind of the headliners and kind of what we want to see. And if those 4 can get in the gate, I think we'll have 2, 3, or 4 other ones in there as well. I think it'll be a short field, but I think it'll be a really good field with those 4. So those are the storylines, right? And that's 4 really, really good storylines. And then, we'll break it down from there once that field comes out next week and kind of get the handicapping there. But look, the Triple Crown's not on the line. That's always the biggest Belmonts when it is. But for a Triple Crown not being on the line, this is about as good as you're going to get.
We do have breaking news, boys. We got breaking news as Carolina showing a little fight. Aho, unassisted, on the board, 4:39 in. The Carolina Hurricanes lead 1-0. This would start if they win this game and they make it 3-2. Now they're not going to win the series, but that would be interesting if they were to win here. You know what I think? I think we look in game at a Florida Panther price right now.
Plus
what is the updated number?
Plus 140.
That's not enough.
Or would you lay a goal and a half in game and get a big, fat, juicy number because there'll be an empty netter involved?
Yeah. It's just so early. I mean, it's only 4 minutes in, Aaron, but Carolina does lead 1-0.
Yeah, that's big for them. I think Carolina with the lead is a much better team than Carolina having to chase because what we talked about, right? They like to play slow. They like to play defensive. It's hard to do that when you're behind. You start to press. You start to get out of your game. So if they've got the lead, that is definitely step 1 from them winning tonight. I still think Florida will come back and win this game, but I'm kind of with you, Patrick. Plus 140, I don't know if that's enough. And I think the market's going to tell you.
I expected a plus 160-ish after down 1-0 on the road. Plus 140 tells you the market really likes the Florida Panthers because it's early.
Back to the horse racing real quick. I have a question for both of you because it does, even though they only ran in the 1 Triple Crown race against each other, sovereignty and journalism, it does feel like we have a rivalry vibe going on like now. What are each of your favorite horse racing rivalry that you watched? Or what's the most recent one, maybe even that?
Ooh, that's a good one. There's a couple that come to mind. The very first year I got involved in a horse named Curlin versus Street Sense. So Street Sense won the Kentucky Derby, and then Curlin won the Preakness. And so that was a rivalry that went on through the summer that ended at the Breeders' Cup Classic, the biggest race in the United States, at least the richest race in the United States, that Curlin was able to win. But, Street Sense won the Travers, a big race up in Saratoga that year. So they were kind of the headliners, and they went into that Breeders' Cup Classic. It's like, okay, the winner of this race will be the horse of the year. And so that's kind of, the head-to-head there. My first year even being in it, that was a great one for sure.
I'll give you one. That is going to maybe Halterman will be the only one that knows this. And they may have only raced once, but the buildup was so intense, and that is Beholder and Songbird.
Yes.
And so I think it was like 16 in the distaff.
Yes.
When there wasn't even a nose that separated the two of them. But the two Beholder versus the Boys as well is another, like, kind of, even if you think about that at Del Mar. But as far as rivalries, Chrome and Arrowgate stands out. Is what we were waiting for those two, and we got it in the Breeders' Cup. Like, I'm thinking of buildups.
You loved Beholder. Why do I remember that horse's name?
Beholder was a filly that was bigger than the men.
Yep.
Bottom line.
That's what it was. Yeah. That's why. Because it was
that was a great horse. Beholder was a great horse, Aaron.
That race you're talking about, and I believe you're right. I think it was 2016 Breeders' Cup Distaff. It may be 17, but I'm pretty sure it's 16. Beholder versus Songbird. That was one of the greatest races I've ever seen. And that was one of the few times, there's been others, but not many, just one of the few times I have no idea who won the race. Like when we watch it, we're like, I have no idea. It could be either one of them. And there are people to this day that still believe Songbird won that race. They moved the line, so it was crazy.
Were we there for that?
Yes.
The 2016
we were there for Arrowgate We were there, Arrowgate, California Chrome.
Oh, Art Sherman. Yeah, Art Sherman, right? That was his name?
Yeah, Art Sherman sat down with us and talked about Chrome.
Yeah. My personal favorite horse racing rivalry, though, is Bob Baffert versus the Rules. That's my
Ooh, too soon.
Good one.
Too soon. Too soon. Not bad.
Sorry. I had to get it in.
How have journalism and sovereignty been training leading up? Are there any rumors, whispers about the two horses we're going to be focused on here in the Belmont?
Thankfully, everything is good right now. Sovereignty, they are absolutely raving about him and how good he's doing leading up to this race. And hey, he's got the extra time off. So yeah, maybe he comes in a little bit fresher. So they're raving about Sovereignty up at Saratoga. Both these horses are up at Saratoga already. So they're raving about Sovereignty. But I've heard nothing but good things about journalism as well. Since he raced, in the Preakness, you can't really do a huge serious workout with him because the screws are already pretty tight. He's been racing, right? So it's a lot of gallops and just kind of light training for him. I do think he'll have a work this coming weekend, so we'll kind of have an idea there. But I've heard nothing but good things about journalism too. It sounds like he's full of energy, and that's the one you worry about because he is racing that third race in 5 weeks. So, they really want to run him, and he's really sounding like he's doing well. So I think, as long as this weekend he has a workout and he's okay and things keep going like we're seeing right now, I think he's going to be there. So that's exciting. And again, Sovereignty, they're just raving about how he looks on the track right now as well. So all systems are go at this moment.
If the Thunder win the title, are you going to go to the parade?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
You should.
Yeah, I'm already kind of planning, okay, when is like game 5 or 7 going to be, or 6, and go to the game too if the tickets aren't astronomical. But we'll be around for something up there for sure, because they've been a really good franchise, but boy, they went through a lull, right, where it was bad and bleak, and they lost all their guys. So to be back, I mean, we're pretty fired up about it.
How far are you away from Oklahoma City?
3 hours. 3 hours away.
I thought you were a lot closer.
No.
Heather Halterman, I need a DD because parades are turned. Okay, well, we are, remember, people, 2 weeks in between the Derby and the Preakness. Still have another week to go in between the Preakness and the Belmont, so not this coming weekend, the following weekend. Outside of American Pharoah and Justify Chasing the Crown, this is, in a weird way, to me, the most exciting Belmont in a very long time.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, I would rank it, since I've been doing it professionally, the third best, minus the two you just talked about. Because again, Triple Crown, hey, you can't beat that. But this one's huge. Yeah,
these could be two pretty special horses.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's not just about the fact that it's Sovereignty beat journalism. Then journalism ran one of the great races you're going to see. So you come out of it thinking, well, we thought journalism was the best coming into the Triple Crown, and that he got beat by Sovereignty. And then journalism turned around a couple of weeks later, one of the great races in traffic you're ever going to see. So how good is Sovereignty? How good could journalism be? There's just a lot to it.
I think journalism doing what he did in the Preakness added that element even more so, right? If he wins it, it's impressive. Yeah, that's one thing, but you make a lot of fans when you do something absolutely incredible. But you're right, and that's the thing I keep going back to when I think about, and I haven't made any decisions, but when I think about who am I going to pick in this race, I'll be like, man, journalism, unbelievable, this incredible performance. Was like, I watched that horse get beat with my own eyes with no excuses to Sovereignty. And so that's what makes it that much more fun, because it's like journalism's great, but Sovereignty just might be better, right? And that's the thing. And hopefully it doesn't rain and we get to see it on a dry track and they prove it there, because that is the one thing that is a questionable thing, because the Derby was over a sloppy track. But still, I think you said it. I think we have two horses here that could be very special. They have shown the signs of being special, and maybe we get it at the Belmont and throughout the summer and the fall as well. And how fun would that be all throughout the season if we have these two?
Be incredible. Aaron Halterman, thank you, buddy. Enjoy the game tonight, Oklahoma City Thunder. We're just about 15 minutes away from tip there in Oklahoma City, lane 8.5. RacingDudes.com, VSiN host Aaron Halterman. Thanks, Halty. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay, we'll get some bets in with Noops from FTN on the game tonight. Coming up next, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Hey guys, fired up. You got me fired up. VSiN.com/newsletter. You can check it out. No obligations. It's free picks. Everything you need to know for your betting menu each day. Go to VSiN.com/newsletter. As we welcome you back, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Hope you're doing well. We do have a basketball game coming up here in just about 10 minutes, maybe a little less. Who knows? Maybe we'll get ball in the air sooner than we think with Oklahoma City laying 8.5. Minnesota. It's very interesting. Wondering what's that?
We're up to 9 at DraftKings.
I was just about to say, what are we going to get from Minnesota? That was a 2-point loss at home to potentially even up the series.
Yeah.
Are they dispirited, or do they come in and just go balls to the wall? Like, I just don't know. We do know how dominant Oklahoma City has been at home.
I think my biggest problem is if we're going to look back on this series, let's say 2-3 years from now, we don't remember a lot of the details, we're going to theoretically think that Oklahoma City just absolutely decimated Minnesota. Like, Minnesota didn't stand a chance, but that's far from the truth. Minnesota's been in every game into the second half for the most part. They had a meltdown in a couple third quarters, and they just lost a 2-point game at home. They're a good team. It's just Oklahoma City is like death by 1,000 paper cuts. They've got so many different ways they're going to do it to you. They're going to wait you out. They're going to let you make a mistake. And if you're Minnesota, you have to be so frustrated because I think you look back at your play over the last 4 games, and you go, we haven't been bad, but we're down 3-1, and at some point human nature takes over. You just go, screw it. Let's just get the inevitable over with now and move on to next year.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating. So it's up to 9. A couple shops here with Oklahoma City laying it. Are you propping this one before we get back to the calls here?
I have 3 props. They're all on Minnesota because I don't know how to handicap Oklahoma City, just because if they win, they could blow out Minnesota here. I think because the Timberwolves are fighting for their lives, these guys will play 4 quarters. We're going to go Alexander Walker off the bench over 12.5 points and assists because he fits the style of fight Oklahoma City wants to play better than Mike Conley, who just looks old out there. Naz Reid over 15.5 points and rebounds. Again, he can get up and down in that offense that they're going to need that Gobert can't. I think he gets more run. And then I'm going to have to go against myself here. Anthony Edwards over 39.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined. I'm not going to say the next blank of the league. What I'm going to say is he is a star, and they need him to take over. He'll be better than he was last game.
Well, speaking of Edwards, I'll take a few calls here, but Naya, can we grab that dog clip? I'm just curious to hear what he had to say. It really has been a weird thing. I know I've heard it, and I'm not even just crushing the big guy in this one when I say let's stop with the face of the – because we've heard it before, right? I think it started with Jordan, and then the argument was,
who takes
Kobe,
yeah.
LeBron type of thing. So I get the notion of having the discussion about face of the league, but Bill said it the other day. When you start talking about face of the league, it does start to get weird because American stuff, race stuff, like there's just so much that goes into it that I think it's a futile. The best player in the NBA is Jokic. So how is he not the face? Is it because he's dour and doesn't really do media?
Well, yeah, does he even want to be? It feels like
I don't think he gives a flip.
He doesn't care to be it. So you would think the person that earns that title also wants the title. So maybe Jokic isn't in the conversation. SGA, he seems like a nice guy, but there's not a lot there in terms of promotion.
Certainly seems like
he seems like a good person, a very well thought human being. But like, I get the Ant Edwards thing. Like there's a certain buzz to the clips that he gives you both on the court and in the press conference.
How old SGA? How old is
26, maybe 25.
Is he older than I thought he was? He's 26. He just turned 26 in July. Okay, he's young. We can all agree he's not good. He's spectacular.
I feel like I've never seen him miss a mid-range shot in the fourth quarter of any game.
But it's even we talked about the defense. He does do that. But his ability to, when needed, to get his teammates in the mix, his teammates adore him. they don't let him do an interview alone.
Yeah.
When he was gathering the MVP trophy, they were going nuts. Like, so obviously he's a leader, and he was 25 a month ago.
And you know what he did for his
I'm
teammates,
sorry.
right?
I'm sorry. He's 26. He's going to be 27. So he's a year older than I thought.
Okay. But he's still pretty young, and
Yeah,
he has a lot of experience.
your prime goes till 32-ish.
How about what he did for his teammates? Did you see what he did after he won the award?
No.
A year ago, when he was in the mix, one of his teammates, I think the other Jalen Williams, the big, said, "Well, if you win MVP, what do we get? Because we helped you win MVP." And he bought them all Rolexes as a thank you for winning MVP.
Yeah, I always laugh when that happens because, like, if you bought me a Rolex, it'd be a story.
Well, it'd be a story that if I had that money, it'd be a huge story.
Whenever hey, can you believe that Josh Allen bought his linemen all saunas? It's like, yeah, I can. He's got $30 million.
I am waiting for you to get into the Rolex collection. I feel like you're the type that would collect like Rolexes from the 70s and not even wear them. You collect cologne and don't wear it.
No, but the Rolex is such depreciation. Like I know what you're saying. It's the watches are beautiful pieces. I have no issues with people that are watch collectors. Yeah. I would like one if you'd like to ship one to me.
It's just like how I wear the fake Travis Scott Jordans that are like $300, $400, $500. I'm perfectly okay with the fake Rolex. I don't care. Only people are
see now that is something I don't understand. Here's what I don't understand. Then it's not about your enjoying because you know that you're wearing something fake. You just want people to believe you're wearing a Rolex.
No, so it's not about the clout that comes with it. I think they look cool. I think the Travis Scott Jordans are the coolest shoes out there. Like I love the design. I love they've taken something that's a classic and mixed it up. But I refuse to pay $300 for a pair of shoes. When it comes to the Rolex, I think Rolexes look really cool. I refuse to pay that much for a watch, mainly because I don't have that money to pay for a watch.
I think it looks
cool. I just think it looks cool. It's very, I'm not.
Don't get mad at me. You can't. You're not allowed to get mad at me. I'm just saying it seems odd to wear a Fugazi. I don't even like when people get plastic surgery. I just want all natural, baby.
No, I think sometimes you accuse me of being way more complex than I am, and I'm really simple and stupid.
No, I didn't know. Let me apologize in advance if I have confused you with being complex. Okay. I think you're a great guy. Take it easy over there. I can. By the way, I will buy you a fake Rollie. We can get those.
I mean, I can afford that. I'll go to Canal Street in the city.
I think you can handle that yourself too. Let's say hi to Tony in Detroit. Our guest is not showing up. We don't know where he is.
This is the new
by
pandemic.
The way, nor do I give a flip.
I know. I'm over it.
I'd rather talk to Tony anyway. What up, Tony?
I agree.
Hey, I could be like Mike and Yosi and just be like, hey, I'll be a guest every night.
Yes, you are. the floor is yours, Tony. The floor is yours.
Hey, real quick, I jumped on Carolina, just based on the fact Florida's a way better team. They're going to the finals. Carolina's lost 9 games at home this year. I was just betting the odds they're not going to end the year losing 3 straight at home.
They've been awesome at home. That's a good point. No, it's a tremendous point.
They have been. And hey, what's worse than the Luka trade is the Alexander for Paul George and OKC. OKC gets five, whatever they got, 4-1s, and they got Alexander, and it just goes to show once again how bad the Luka trade is because he got 1-1 or whatever.
Yep.
Whatever he got. And I'm also glad to see Patrick. Weren't we just discussing with the big guy like a week ago that he wasn't buying into OKC? Now he's talking dynasty.
No, he loves them. He's all in.
He's
all in.
I was wrong. I was dead. Look, Tony, I am wrong a lot. I don't ever admit it. I am admitting on this one I was so wrong. This team's going to win multiple championships.
Well, I like to hear that. And one last thing, guys. The great GM Steve Phillips today. I'm not really impressed with the Tigers in the American League. I like a few other teams. They don't have enough pitching.
Wait, what was Phillips on with Dog and said that?
Steve Phillips. the great GM, Steve Phillips. You know, he won a lot of
Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know what to. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. What's the word with your boy Chris Ilitch and Scooble? Are we going to lock him down?
Well, the room. I was reading the other day that, and now it could be upwards that Boris wants $400 million. Do you think Prince Ilitch here, King Joffrey of Detroit, is going to pony up $400 million? I mean, we got the Iser plan going with the Wings. We got the best pitcher in baseball, Patrick. They will move him. They will move him.
They listen. No, Tony likes everybody. He does not like Chris Ilitch.
Hey.
I've never heard Tony say a bad thing about anybody. He loathes the owner of the Tigers.
Little
Mr.
Caesar's going to have to raise their prices a lot if they're going to pay Scooble $400 million. You're looking at $30 pizzas.
There's no chance they can't pay him. I don't know. You got to make it work. You have to pay him.
You have to.
He is the best pitcher by far. It's not even close in baseball right now. Sorry to Skeens, but it's not close. He's the best pitcher in baseball, and he's young, and he's got many years ahead of him.
If he makes 30 starts in a season, you win 25 of them.
He's incredible.
25 wins.
Update on the hockey game. Basketball about to start. Your calls are coming up next. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. 3. They lead just a couple of minutes into that one. We're going to get to your calls here just quickly. An update on the ice. The Hurricanes 1-0, 2:32 to play in Carolina. I appreciate your patience on the calls, including our buddy Malcolm in California. He joins us here at VSiN Live. Hi, Malcolm.
Hey, man. My question is, I've been paying attention to the playoffs, and who do you think out of the teams that are left, who can make it next season?
Malcolm, I'd say of the Final Four right now, you have to say Oklahoma City's going to be back. If we're being respectful to Minnesota, this is their they've gone back-to-back Western Conference Finals. Yeah. No reason to suspect, though. They do have a Naz Reid question to answer. In the East, my guess right now, the West feels a little bit more secure. In the East, although the West is a better conference, Indiana feels much more likely to be back.
Well, that's because you're viewing the New York Knicks through the lens of 2025, and after they come up short this year and they package Karl-Anthony Towns and Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, for Giannis, things will be different next year. So the Knicks will be back as well.
Make the Knicks great, like America. Hayden?
That would be a wonderful thing right now. And by the way, I think I'm more bullish on the women with the, let's say, cosmetic surgery than you are.
No, see, that's not my thing. I don't know how to. I'll say this delicately. It just doesn't do anything for me. You know what I mean? If it's fake in my brain, it doesn't feel good.
Some of these women that are post 45, even post 50, they don't look post 50 right now. So
I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
but they all, Hayden, they all buy the same face.
Well, I'll take that over what I saw 40 years ago. So you're right.
Yeah, when they were just smoking darts and just looked like catcher's mitts. I get you.
And I've always told this to Dog privately. We all, as an audience, get dumber and dumber every time he has Steve Phillips talk baseball for 20 minutes. It's as reliable as that heater down the middle on a 3-0 pitch. Yeah. There's nobody gets swatched, and I'm convinced Dog likes to have a little patsy on his schedule, like like when Alabama brings in, East Alabama State in Labor Day weekend, he brings on Steve Phillips and smacks him for a few minutes, makes him.
I'll give you a weird one. Hayden, tell me what you think about this one. Dog is obsessed with Mariucci. When Mariucci comes on and talks NFL with Dog, I feel like he doesn't say anything. Do you guys ever think that? Like he literally just doesn't give you any insight?
He just defers to Mr. Mariucci?
No. I'm talking. Dog's great. I'm saying Mariucci feels like everything's very surface, and like, dude, you're an expert. I feel like I should be getting something more from it.
Is he?
Anyone who thinks these guys are experts.
I'm telling you, they're all fantasy football players, bro. I trust me.
And most of them are degenerate gamblers, and that's why they all lose their money, and they're all going on TV looking for jobs because they can't handle the finances. But as far as the face of the NBA, I don't think any of these guys are. I mean, to me, Curry is still the face. You can make the argument for LeBron. Until those guys walk out the door, I don't think that they're handing that mantle to anybody. The ratings indicate that. Nobody watches anybody else. No one watches.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, if you're watching – thanks, Hayden. He's right about one thing. It's to this day, what is ESPN going to lead with on First Take? LeBron. Yeah. So I guess he's right. I guess if you're talking face of the NBA, it's still a 41-year-old basketball player.
And that's where my anger came from with the Edwards thing. I know we're saying next. I still think there's people in line behind LeBron right now ahead of him. But look, it's still LeBron. It's still Steph. I still think Giannis, for the international factor, is still in the mix for being the face right now.
Giannis
there's just a lot of people at the top.
Giannis being in Milwaukee, though, killed him.
It does, but it's also, does Giannis become Giannis if he's not in Milwaukee? You know what I mean? If he has to go somewhere where it's more pressure for some random kid from Greece to figure it out.
Sociological experiment? You caught me in a tough one here, big guy.
I asked you a question you can't answer.
I don't.
Sorry.
That is true. I don't know that answer. We're talking assimilation? We're talking. It's a tough one for me to answer.
Yeah, Laverne and Shirley, they certainly thrived in Milwaukee. Outside
did.
of that,
They loved
Giannis is next on the list. That's it. Miller Lite.
Milwaukee, when I was looking up market sizes, because Oklahoma City is the third smallest, New Orleans and Memphis are the smallest. Yep. Milwaukee's much smaller than you think.
Smallest
Not a big
in the
city,
East, I believe. I believe it's the smallest in the East.
Not a big city. I've been to Milwaukee. Yeah. Fun city.
Oh, you have? Really?
Yeah. I've watched Pistons at Bucks.
It's one of those cities that's odd to me because it's its own, city, but it's an hour drive from a major city in Chicago. You know what I mean? Like where there's certain cities where like they're like San Diego is not far from Los Angeles, so it'll never be as big as LA, but it's its own city in its own right.
Yeah, they call Chicago the second city.
Yeah, I don't understand that one completely. It wasn't second. It wasn't even part of the 13 colonies. How could it be the second city?
Listen. My head is still spinning from the Giannis question. There's not a ton I could do with that one either. Nothing to see here, people. Move along. But I will say, Phillips being quote-unquote not impressed with the Tigers, like Steve, weird take. You help me out with that one.
Well, when we previewed the Tigers, we had one question. It was, would they hit? And they've answered that everyone's hitting. Somehow that team has an offense, and we didn't see it coming. Torkelson's going to be the most improved player in baseball. We were ready to write him off and ship him out of town. And then you factor in that they have elite pitching, and I think we underrate this. In a world where most of these managers take all of their cues from the front office, Detroit hired a guy in A.J. Hinch who clearly knows how to manage the chess pieces he's given.
Yeah, no, he's been incredible. He took his served his penance for being a donk, being a beta.
Are you
concerned allowing people to bang cans all around him? My man was like, I didn't understand. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, sure.
He can manage the hell out of a baseball team because the team that went to the postseason last year is one of the worst teams of all time.
They're 37-20.
They're best team in baseball.
Like that's not like, okay, that's great. That's great. They've got studs. They've seen this through. They're on the other side. And I think the pitching is going to be dangerous in the postseason. They are built for a short series in the MLB playoffs.
I guess I'd have to hear the full quote from Phillips, so I don't want to crush him until I hear that. But saying he's not impressed with the Tigers having the best record in baseball is a take. Maybe I'm getting defensive because I'm a Tigers fan. When we come back, professional handicapper Scott Spreitzer is going to join us here on the program. Then the big guy, Dustin Hennessy's got an update, and we'll hear from Dog on Face of the NBA. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, it's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Get you an update on the 2 games in progress. After the T-Wolves and Thunder wrap up Game 5 tonight in Oklahoma City, stay locked into Sirius XM, NBA Radio Channel 86 for the post-game show. Get a full recap of the matchup, expert analysis, and all the biggest highlights. Only on Sirius XM, NBA Radio Channel 86 in the car or on your Sirius XM app. All right, so Minnesota is dead as a doornail, as it is. Well, let's 22-7, 2:38 to play. The Thunder lead. So the Thunder lead 22-7. We'll see if Minnesota can show a little fight the rest of the way. And a surprising one down in Carolina, as the Panthers did close his favorites about $1.25, and Carolina leads 2-0 first intermission. The Hurricanes showing themselves to be pesky. See if they can claw their way back into the series. Okay, that is that. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Maher. Again, this is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. We're going to welcome in our good buddy Scott Spreitzer. He's having issues with the internet there, so we're going to, hey, any Scott's better than no Scott. Scott Spreitzer, Doc Sports, DOCSports.com handicapper. Scott wins on Twitter, and we say hi to Mr. Spreitzer. Hey, Scott, how are you?
Been a while since we've done this without video, but back to the old style, back to the old days. And I was waiting for some Clash intro music, from the old Sirius radio days. So now you're only putting up with me on phone. But also, if you hear any screaming and yelling in the background, it's my dog who can't handle it when I'm on the phone. So she's outside the office screaming and yelling.
A nice little wrinkle. How old's your dog?
9, actually. And
okay.
Has massive separation anxiety.
Trust me. I know the feeling with my dog. It's horrible. No, it is crazy. We would play the Clash, but because we're on YouTube now. By the way, VSiN Live on YouTube, we're not allowed to. But yes, Scott for many years was brought in by the Clash. I don't know if you did anything with the games in progress, but let's discuss them real quick. I mean, Oklahoma City just putting a beat down on Minnesota early, and then a surpriser. First intermission, the Hurricanes lead 2-0 over the Panthers.
Yeah, I'll start with the NBA. Been watching it myself here, and it's funny with this game because the first 2 games, you had a situation where Oklahoma City had a plus 33 point differential when it comes to points off turnovers. That's their offense is generated by their unbelievably outstanding defensive play, forcing teams' sloppiness to turn into turnovers and then buckets at the other end. The last couple of games, though, Minnesota had righted the ship as far as sloppiness, and they had actually outscored OKC 31-27 in points off of turnovers. So they're basically dead even there, had eliminated that issue. And I'm watching them tonight. They're so sloppy. It's like back to Game 1 and Game 2. And I'm really surprised about 2 things. First of all, how sloppy Minnesota is. They've got non-ball handlers bringing the ball across midcourt and getting the ball taken away from them. And then this is one of those situations where I'm like, where's Naz Reid? Why isn't he taking shots? This is a guy who's a decent outside shooting player who, when they've had big games, over the course of the year, Naz Reid has been a part of it. He's yet to take a shot. So they're not setting him up. Instead, they're going with McDaniels, and I get that. You want him to be involved, but the guy's 0 for 6. So it's kind of a weird start. Maybe they come back and get the cover at that big number at 8.5. But even Ant Edwards, if you watch the first, let's say, 4 minutes of this game when OKC was just tearing them apart, he wasn't driving the paint. What did they do in their win? He drove the paint. What did they do in, another close game? He drove the paint. He penetrated. He looked to get the ball outside if the bucket wasn't there. And, Dustin asked me either last week or the week before when this series was just starting, what do you think about the comparisons of Anthony Edwards and MJ? It's not even close right now. He's not taking the ball to the paint, which is really, into the paint and looking to dish or score. And it's just been an odd start back to sloppy basketball. You got to let Naz Reid shoot once in a great while here if you're going to have a chance in this game.
I agree because I have Naz Reid over points and rebounds, Scott. So I completely agree with your assessment there. Oklahoma City's up 23-7. There's about 2 minutes to go in the first. And look, you've been doing this a long time when it comes to betting, and I feel like new bettors, mainly myself, when we first get into this thing and we start handicapping games, we get bogged down by the X's and O's and the key matchups and the critical statistics that jump out to us. But this is starting to look like, no kidding, Oklahoma City's up huge. This is a live and let die, move on scenario for Minnesota. How much balancing do you do as someone who's been doing this for a long time between the narrative of Minnesota may lay down and die here and like the matchups and the stats and the game flow we've seen so far through the series?
Yeah, it's really tough. You get to these closeout games as far as trying to figure out if a team that could be closed out is going to, come out and play their game, or if they're just going to come out and be sluggish like Minnesota has thus far. What makes it tough is when you look at like teams that are up 3-1, they're favored, they're at home, it's game 5, closeout time, they win those games. It's ridiculous. The number is like 130, the last 130 times straight up, but they're well below 500 against the spread, like 12 games, I think it is, below 500 in those games. And so you got to try to factor, okay, like I thought, Oklahoma City's probably going to win this game, but I'm also getting 8.5 points, and I made a small play on the T-Wolves. So I thought they'd hang around, and that's just something you try to factor in. Usually that home team in Game 5 with a chance to close out wins but doesn't cover. And the problem with Minnesota right now is they're not doing anything that they did when they were playing well against OKC, and maybe they'll bust around and get out of it. But boy, when I saw a player or two bringing the ball across the court who's not a ball handler and getting it, just taken right out of his hand, I'm shaking my head about, boy, if I'm the coach, I'm calling a timeout right away. There's no waiting around. There's no waiting until the media break or whatever you want to call it. It's get these guys' heads in the game right away. And the guy who's supposed to be bringing the ball up court, he brings the ball up court. Ant Edwards, drive the freaking paint, kick it out if you don't have an open shot, kick it out to a deep perimeter shooter. And they're doing everything opposite of what you would expect them to. So it's a tough handicap when it gets to closeout games.
The hockey, listen, Carolina, it's almost like Florida took off Game 4, got blanked at home. And Tony, our caller, mentioned it. Carolina has been great at home all season. So if they can squeeze one out here, maybe make it interesting. We know Florida's the better team, but Carolina's up 2-0 at the first intermission.
Yeah, and Florida's I think 8-8 in closeout games. They're a 50-50 chance in closeout games after losing the last game. When we spoke last week, I had a play the next day that we talked about that I lost, which was Bobrovsky to stop more than 26.5 shots on goal, because Carolina at home had been averaging about 37 shots on goal, and even though they had lost to start the series, they were still getting a bunch of shots on goal. Well, he had a great game the next time out, but I think they only had like 19 or 20 shots on goal. Carolina had to get more active in front of the net, and they are the last couple of games, and it's working. And so we're finally seeing this team kind of approach the kind of numbers that got them here when it came to scoring chances, and not just shots on goal, but shots that are even not being on net, that are at least putting pressure defensively on Florida. So Carolina, yeah, they cut it to 3-2. It's going to be an interesting Game 6. And I didn't play the last game and I didn't play this game. And it's because of Florida's problems with closing out games. But I really thought, well, if we do get to a Game 6, I'll probably come back on the Panthers. We'll see if they make any kind of rush here, though, over the final period or so of the game, if they're able to actually kind of own the ice again like they were doing in the first couple of games.
And Oklahoma City bangs a 3 at the buzzer. What is it, 26 to – let me pull it up real quick. I just lost it on the screen. 26-9 at the end of 1 in Oklahoma City. Good God, that is a beatdown to open this thing up. It's not over yet, though. Sticking with the NHL, Scott, over in the West. Edmonton loses Hyman. That's big for the series. But more importantly, trending towards a potential matchup should Florida finish the job with Carolina, as you guys were talking about, even though Carolina's up right now. When you look at Skinner, how shocked are you by what he's doing right now? It started against your Golden Knights, but now he's playing out of his mind. And this is a guy that was benched like a series ago. All of a sudden now he's on this heater. Is it enough to carry them, do you believe, where they would match up well against Florida?
It sure seems like it, and he's also getting a lot of help from his players around him. I was looking at this series a little bit just in the last few minutes, like maybe an hour ago, starting to look a little bit more into the series for tomorrow's game. And I saw where 2 of these 3 losses, Dallas had 27 giveaways in one of the games and 18 in the other. 45 giveaways, where Edmonton in those 2 games had a total of 20. So Dallas is kind of like the Minnesota Timberwolves of the NHL playoffs right now, where they can't hang on to the puck and they're not getting serious scoring chances. They are getting some shots on goal, like in the 3-0 loss. They were dead even with shots on goal with Edmonton, but the chances aren't as great as they were. In power play opportunities, they gave Edmonton 5 power play opportunities. They scored on 1, and Dallas only had 2, for instance, in that 3-0 game. 2 opportunities. You can't give that offense 3 more power play opportunities than you're getting yourself. But you're right about Skinner. I mean, he had like an .857 save percentage against LA. It was right around there, .850. In the first 2 games against the Kings, they pull him. He ends up coming back during the Vegas series due to injury, and he's been stellar ever since. Stuart Skinner's been tearing it up ever since. So as a Vegas Golden Knights fan, taking betting out of the equation, I'm actually feeling a little bit better about the VGK. Maybe they don't need to dump half the team, like my anger was telling me after that series. But it's going to be tough to back Dallas as they go back home because they're getting outplayed on the blue line, and they're panicking when they get to center ice and giving the puck away way too often.
Scott Spreitzer, professional handicapper here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Doc Sports, DOCSports.com. A little baseball. 2 months in, Memorial Day has passed. You've got your Major League Baseball ratings. You've got the Yankees up top.
Yeah, I do a thing, guys, where I like to do about every 10 days. I like to do the 10-game stretch of power ratings, and then I have my season-long power ratings. And it keeps you from not including what's going on, say, a team's hot streak over the last week plus, but also at the same time, you don't just factor recency bias into the equation because you're using season-long numbers also. And I have the Yankees right now ahead of the Phillies, ahead of the Dodgers. This is going to change. The Dodgers are going to get healthy pretty soon, and all of a sudden we're going to have the Dodgers probably at the top of my list season-long and every 10 days or so. Right now they're not there. But I do have the Phillies. I mean, they're on a nice 9-1 run. I have them second overall. I've got the Yankees first. Here's the thing with the Yankees, guys. If you watch what just happened in the month of May up until tonight, not only are they 16-7, but they're giving up 2.95 runs per game in 23 games. That's ridiculous. Not just an ERA, but that's all they're giving up, whether it be starters and bullpen combined. That's all, less than 3 runs per contest. And at the same time, they've scored the second most runs in the American League in the month of May. So the rotation has been through the roof. The bullpen, which over the years every once in a while looks pretty bad, or the downfall Achilles heel of the Yankees, is not that this year. And then you've got this incredible offense to back it all up. The Dodgers right now in the month of May, only 13-12 guys. I've still got them in my top 5 as far as my season-long power ratings, and I think they're going to end up being tops with my season overall as we get more games under their belt and as they get healthy. But, yeah, I mean, the Yankees right now, guys, I mean, they're, to me, I don't want to say clear-cut, but they're a little bit above the rest. And then there's a next tier, which I think would be the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Tigers, teams like that.
Dodgers off to a slower start than expected. Still great, but also minus 600 to win the NL West as well. I'm curious, Scott, where would Patrick's Detroit Tigers, with the best record in baseball, be in your power rankings?
I've got them 4th. I really do overall. I've got the Tigers ranked 4th overall, and over the last 10 days or so, they're, right around there. But I think this team, I mean, you look at what they get. For one thing, they've got a slump buster, obviously, in Skubal. I've been playing this guy every time he steps on the mound, even the 8:05 game the other day in the morning, Pacific time. And they're just doing everything well right now. Everything that they struggled with over the last couple of years has been righted. So right now I have them 4th. I think they're probably going to be top 5, at least going in, to July. I don't see this team faltering at all. One of the teams, real quickly, guys, when I use these power ratings, and again, I do every 10 days, and then I also have the season long, I think a team that we're going to look to play against quite often in the month of June is going to be the Cincinnati Reds, who right now I have 19th on the season, and I have them 22nd overall, for the last 10 days. I also try to look at and try to figure out strength of schedule. There's no team in baseball coming up over the last few days of May and the entire month of June that has a tougher schedule than the Cincinnati Reds. And I think we're going to see a situation where we can find good spots to play against them. So when you use those power ratings, there's the teams at the top that I look to play. Philadelphia, the Dodgers as they get healthy. You had to lay a lot of big prices early with them, so kind of hurt when they lost. The Tigers. But I also look for this power ratings to give me teams to play against. And when you do come up with a strength of schedule formula, and you see what the Reds got going to end May and then get into June. It's tough. They've got like the Cubs coming up the next 3 games. They've got Cleveland and Detroit all coming on the road, 6 games in a row. The Cardinals are playing well. They've got 3 on the road in June against them, followed by 3 at home against the Yankees. So it's just one series after another for the Reds that could wear this team down.
Scott Spreitzer, all right. Well, thank you for grinding and doing this on the phone for us. We appreciate it. Get back to the pup. I know, trust me, I know all about separation anxiety. Scott Spreitzer, docsports.com, at Scott Wins with 2 T's on Twitter. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Take care, guys. Have a great one.
Okay. Talk to you soon. There goes Scott Spreitzer. Okay. Okay, so this is from Twizzy?
Yep, that just happened moments ago.
Oh, gosh. Thank you, Lord. All right, so we should talk about this. So Mike and the OC called a few weeks ago and said there is a Mad Dog Sports Radio meetup in Hermosa Beach, California at Hennessy's on the pier. At that point, he said, Babchick's flying in. We've got, a lot of people coming in. Every time we kind of tried to hammer him down on what, quote-unquote, a lot of people meant, we really didn't get many answers. He mentioned Twizzy was going to come. Twizzy's a friend, a longtime friend of the show. Twizzy just tweeted out that, unfortunately, he will not be attending. He says, because my kids got me Dodgers-Yankees tickets for Saturday as an early Father's Day gift. So Twizzy obviously has a tremendous excuse. Now, we did mention yesterday, and this is what bums me out a little bit, because the big guy had plans to go to San Diego, but then he was starting to waffle a little bit. Maybe he and a +1 would end up at Hennessy's. And then I did a thing that I shouldn't have done because he is so concerned with other people not being right that I think he's going to sacrifice his happiness to not go, because I said he will be attending Hennessy's Mad Dog Sports Radio meetup. So now my guess is you're not going to be going, because I said that.
Well, no. Look. My San Diego trip, it's Jacoby Jones. It's 50-50 right now, and the reason why I may have to stay back may prevent me from going to Hennessy's. But I would also add, I was listening to Beetle and Decker today, and I did notice Mike called in about the event. I think he's promoting it like he's a club promoter back in the day, going like door to door with flyers to hand out. And Cody is actually flying out to LA, and he is going to be there. Unfortunately, Michelle had plans pop up. She is no longer going to be there, and I feel an obligation to go save Cody Decker from a potential one-on-one date with Mike and the OC.
Oh no! Like I said, I'm happy to hear that. I know you're going to think I'm being sarcastic. I'm happy to hear that, because I did think yesterday after, I'm like, okay, great. I just ruined it. He wants to go, but now his whole thing about people being right is going to preclude him from going.
No,
because I said he's going to go, and I feel like I ruined it.
No, look, my plans are truly up in the air. There's stuff going on where I may have to
absolutely.
stay.
Yeah,
No, it's out of my control. I want to go to San Diego. I've wanted to go forever. Honestly, I just want to go to the zoo. The baseball game was just like a plus to everything. But I do feel like this is a situation where if I don't go to San Diego, someone's got to look out for Cody. I'm sorry. You cannot leave that poor guy alone in a bar
with all due respect to Cody, why do you care?
Because I've been trapped by Mike and the OC, and I know how it feels.
But do you know Cody?
No, not really.
So why do you...
I don't know. I just feel...
Why do you care about him?
Because it's Mike and the OC. He's a psychopath.
Yeah, but... Okay, now I have to defend you if you think you have to go because of Cody. Cody's Cody. He's going to be fine.
I don't think I have to, but I think when Cody agreed to, and I don't know all the details, I believe he believed his partner Michelle was going to be there. I think Mike also spun it as there's all these people confirmed, and Cody doesn't maybe know Mike as well as we do, and he was duped by the sell job that Mike OC did, booked his trip, he's coming out there, and he's literally walking into a bar, and it's Mike and the OC at a booth being like, you want to get a pastrami sandwich?
Look, I said it all along, and now I'm proud of you. There is no way if you went to San Diego, you were still going to make it to Hennessy's. So like, all I can tell you is if you're planning on the Mad Dog Sports Radio meetup, the big guy's going to be – he was never not going to be there. He wanted to play hard to get – hey, the only way that this can be found – the only way that we'll know is we'll come back on Monday and we'll ask, did you or didn't you go? That's it.
Patrick, what meetup are you talking about? As far as Twizzy just backed out, you are not going. You were one of the names that Mike in the OC was telling everyone was going. What is the meetup? There are no – it's Mike in the OC, Cody Decker, and maybe another person.
If you're that concerned about Cody, why not just text him and explain to him what the hell's happening?
I mean, I could do that too, but I just didn't feel like it was good shtick in the moment. I'm not really going to go save Cody.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah. I mean, plus, we don't even really work with Cody because we work for VSiN.
Yeah, no. It's all fair. It's all fair. But
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't have to feel guilty about that. I mean,
no.
Cody you're right. Cody probably thinks it's a bigger deal than it is, and it's literally just Mike.
I think he was duped by a crazy person acting like, because remember how he called in the first time? Hey, did you hear about our meetup? What meetup? Me, Twizzy, Artane, Cody, Beetle, Babs. Started listening to all these names. And now it turns out nobody's going.
Yeah. Here's what I'm going to make it easy on you. I'm going to make it easy on Cody. I'm going to make it easy on everybody. The event is off. If you show up, you're insane.
Well, if you show up, you're just a person going to a bar in Hermosa.
Yeah, if you show up, you just really like Hennessy's in Hermosa. It has nothing to do with the other patrons.
It's a good bar.
It's a fine bar. It's a fine bar. Cody's not flying into Los Angeles to go to the bar.
No, I think he's originally from Los Angeles. I think he had something scheduled around it, maybe, I would guess. I hope he didn't schedule this trip just for this event that is not happening.
I think here's what we need to do. Mike, we know you're listening. I'm going to put Dustin, I'm going to make sure Cody, I'm going to be the adult in the room. Mike, I'm going to call, I love you, but you're going to call in and I'm going to blow up the charade. Okay? It's enough is enough. We're putting people out. It takes forever to get to Hermosa.
No. It also feels like it was a ploy from Mike to just hang out with you because he put it in your backyard.
It just was never. I mean, I said at the beginning I was going to go. It just wasn't going to happen. It's not even me being a jerk. Sorry, I can't do it. It's just not. I don't know. It's just not my thing. So. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it.
And Mike, don't be offended by that. It has nothing to do with you as a person. If his favorite person in the world invited him out, he'd be like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to make it.
I just want to make sure that the big guy, Cody, and everybody else don't feel pressure. Mike, let's call it what it is. All right? The jig is up.
I mean, Twizzy, Beetle, and you have now backed out. That's literally half the people he was promoting were going to be there.
Michelle kind of scares me. If she was going, that would be another reason. Like, I don't know. I went on with her. She was super aggressive. I can't deal with the energy on a weekend. And anytime she talks about it, it's so aggressive. You know what? I'm just out on people.
All right. Now we've done the full 360, not a 180. You've come all the way back around to where you started this whole thing out. Antisocial, not wanting to leave your home.
Yeah. No. It's just people got their own agendas. I'm just out. You get to an age, honestly, you just get to an age where you don't play that game anymore. You don't.
When was the last time you played?
I don't know, bro. I'm just saying at this age, I definitely don't.
No, I know.
So I'm old. Philadelphia got a goal. Let's go. We got MLS, Toronto and Philadelphia.
I have a soccer question. There's something I saw promoted on TV where a bunch of English clubs are coming over to play MLS squads. Is that a normal thing that happens?
Yeah, that's a summer thing. And it's a big deal.
You should go to one of those matches.
Yeah, especially if there's one here in Carson, California.
That's
I'd like
what I'm
to go. We'll have a Mad Dog Sports Radio meet up there. I'll see you guys there. We'll come back and update you on the basketball and hockey next. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Yeah, we got a lot of weird stuff going on here, and a lot of it is on Naya. If we're being honest, we welcome you back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Update, Panthers Hurricanes 2-1, so the Panthers have gotten on the board in the second period here, and we are now 12:37 to go in the second. 2-1, Hurricanes do lead. Elsewhere, NBA, 51-24, good game. 4:31 to play in the second, so I guess you could have laid the 8.5. Feels like it's pretty safe at this point.
Thanks for coming, Minnesota. Keep it moving. On to the next one for the Thunder. This is absurd. Lay 23.5 with the Thunder right now. 208.5 is your total. Minus, let's see, I got to do the zero counting. 1 and then 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Minus 10,000 on the Thunder. on the money.
Yeah, it's weird. Right before the game tipped, I was like, what are we going to get from Minnesota? I just had this sinking suspicion they just might go out there and quit, and they've got 27 points headed to the break. So that's a quit. That's a quit.
And it's frustrating to see because they were technically in the other games leading into this. It's disappointing to see them not post because while they're down in the series 3-1, they had a chance late in 2 of them to win it.
Correct. You're not wrong. Hey, by the way, I think we might have just we've actually turned the Mad Dog Sports Radio planet on its head. Mike and the OC's name was said and he didn't call.
We said it like 400 times.
Right. So the point is, and again, I am you need to do you need to do your girlfriend, you need to do your San Diego, you need to do whatever your life is. Cody, get this message back to Cody.
Oh, please.
It's over.
Yeah, Cody, don't waste your time. Don't.
You're all being used as pawns. Twizzy's not even going to be there. It's over.
Look, Twizzy was the last little bit of hope that it would be a normal event, and he's not going. So
it's over.
You can't go. You can't go.
And I'm literally trying. First off, it's taking pressure off me, so I appreciate that.
You've been bailed out because you
Yes,
really didn't want to go, but you were going to suck it up and go because there were going to be people there that you wanted.
But I will say this. Taking pressure off everybody else because even when you come to town, I'm like, dude, what are you going to do? Come all the way out to Hermosa? Even when my family's in town who I see once a year, I'm like, are you going to come all the way out here?
No, that's why you chose it. It's why you chose to live there.
Yeah, I'm hiding. I'm literally hiding, people. All right. Anyway, let's get to the calls. 888-623-3646. We got MLS action. I love midweek MLS action because guess what? The only other thing I've got on is the hockey game because the basketball game ain't worth watching. It's 55-27.
No.
The hockey, it's tied up at 2s. So the Panthers and Hurricanes, we are tied up, people. A goal from Kachuk. A goal from Rodriguez. So Kachuk scored to make it 2-1, and Rodriguez has just scored to make it 2-2. The Panthers looking to close out the Hurricanes. What is the live number on that? I might jump in on the Panthers.
We minus 135 on the Panthers, what it was pre-flop, basically. And then plus 105 on the Hurricanes. In-game total, 7 and a hook.
Little momentum the Panthers way. All right, back to the calls. Let's say hi. Zach's been holding for a while in Iowa, wanting to talk a little baseball. Hi, Zach. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, fellas? I appreciate you taking the call. All right?
Of course.
Hey, and I wasn't waiting that long. I'd listen to you. I love listening to you guys. But anyway, let's get to it. I got 2 points. All right? So the Chicago thing, I'm from New York. All right? Yeah, I live in Iowa. Ooh,
I was going to say, that's not an Iowa accent. That's not an Iowa accent.
No, that's a New York accent.
Long story on that. But the Chicago thing, as far as the second city thing, it was because when Chicago was burned down or whatever, and then it rebuilt, and they called it the second city. I researched this, and I was like, why do they call it the second city? Because I was a theater major in school. So I was like, SCTV and all that. It's like, what is that all about? Oh, because Chicago burned down, and they made the city, they rebirthed the city. So then that was the second city of Chicago. Not second to anybody.
That makes sense. I actually didn't know that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. But when you said that, I was listening. And then the other thing was with Mr. Mad Dog. I agree with totally what he said with the total, Anthony Edwards thing. It's like, hey, you know what? The face of the NBA doesn't have to announce himself as the face of the NBA. It just happens. Mm-hmm. It just happens. Bird and Magic, it happened. Okay, and in Jordan, it happened. They didn't declare him that because when he wasn't winning nothing, it was like, oh, he's a good prospect. Oh, yeah, okay. But no, he's getting his ass whooped. Sorry, I said ass. My bad.
You're fine.
But he was saying, he lost to the, Celtics and the Pistons, and then he kind of, he broke through. So you don't make yourself the face of the NBA, and no matter what media says, they can't dictate who the face of the NBA is. You just take it. And Anthony Edwards, yes, you know what? Before the whole Ja Morant thing started happening, he could have been possibly in the running for face of the NBA. But he started having some little extracurriculars. You know, we all know that. But Anthony Edwards has the swag. He has that whole drip. He has all that. But you cannot anoint someone the face of the NBA. They take it. You know.
Did you hear what Kendrick Perkins said, Zach, about the face of the NBA? Oh my God, dude. He said that you have to be married, a wife and children to be the face of the NBA, which is the weirdest take of all time.
And you know what's weird about that? So, and you know, not to be political. So if I'm 35 or plus and I want to run for the presidency, even though the minimum age is 35, so I can't be president because I don't have a wife or kids. You know what I'm saying?
Tell that to Grover Cleveland. He didn't have a wife and kids. Zach, great to hear. Great to hear from you. Thank you for the trivia. The big guy likes Zach.
By the way, Zach 100% in witness protection. That accent in the middle of Iowa, he is in witness protection hiding from somebody. You might want to look up how he did that.
Feels like Iowa is where they sent the gangsters.
Just
hey, Zach, rub your nose if you're part of the Gambinos. Yeah. People in Iowa, when they hear Zach's accent, they hide.
He's like, you're not going to get the reference. Joe Dirt, Christopher Walken's character, has a huge New York accent. He's like, "You from here?" He's like, "Yeah, born and raised, not here, Kansas." And he's got a huge New York accent. That's my best accent.
A little TV reference?
Oh, it's a movie reference, but oh no.
Oh boy.
This is awkward for everyone.
This is I'll just say this. I want to take Patrick first.
Yes.
That's my guy. He's talking horse racing. After that, I don't even know. I'm not even prepared for it because everybody knows I'm a friend of the guy that we're going to talk to after, but it's going to be awkward.
I'm not, and I feel bad.
I feel weird. Let's say hi to Patrick. Not weird. Hi, Patrick.
What's happening, fellas?
What's happening?
Gotta tell you, I've been following the Mike with OC thing all week long, and it's crazy that you're
hold on. He's on hold, so he's coming up after you. Can you tell me your take on the whole situation?
Yeah. He wants to hang with dudes from freaking dog radio, right? Like, he's probably booked a high top for 6, hoping that 4 show up, you know? That's what my thinking is, all right? But anyways, man, I love Aaron on there tonight. I hit a pick 3 at Thistledown because in the first
Thistledown, that's a real one.
It's a jerk track, but you know what? Hey, it was easy. But you guys were talking rivalries. There's more horse racing rivalries in fillies simply because they don't all retire and go to stud at 3. So people forget Monomoy Girl and Matolin. They duked it out for a year and a half. One of the greatest rivalries there. And then anyone that raced against Whitmore, because Whitmore raced for 7 years. So everyone was his rival.
Great horse.
You know, no one could beat
him. A great horse.
Yeah,
great horse.
Absolutely. You know, but I got a question for you guys because I've listened to y'all long enough that I pick up on your shtick. I want to know the difference or the most different and the most similarities between a donk and a buster.
That is that's a great listener, Patrick. Donk? Okay. So and I got to give the junkies credit too, but donk was an original poker term. Like when you're donking off your money, you're a donkey. So it was a way to disparage somebody that maybe wasn't a skilled player, maybe won a pot, but they shouldn't have. So you say they're a donkey. The great sports junkies in D.C., they call people donks. I just always made me laugh, became part of my vernacular. Buster, however, was my boy Jeff Brustevich growing up. We would go, I don't know why, it was a Michigan thing. It became so annoying because we wouldn't even start a sentence or end a sentence without calling somebody a buster. If somebody walked in the bar and they were wearing a jersey that wasn't cool, buster. If somebody was wearing a fake Rolex, no offense, Dustin, he was a buster. How would you delineate between a donk and a buster?
Donk is a dummy. A buster's someone.
A buster's more just like nerdy.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a buster. Like he's just
There's some crossover. People can be both.
Speaking of which. All right. Can we try to do this? Can we try to have a normal conversation? Let's not all talk over each other.
I'm not going to speak. I'm going to let you guys go.
Okay. Now, as soon as I go to it, he's going to come out like a shot out of a cannon.
Yes.
So I'll have to let the pre-ramble go, and then I'll try to settle it down. Okay?
Do you think you might have to give him a pep talk? Do you think he's going to be down?
No, he's always in a good mood. The one thing I do love about Mike is he takes shots, and he always comes with positivity.
Yeah, he's like that rally monkey in the 2002 Angels, just always ready to go.
It's a good reference. He is a big Angels guy. Here is Mike in the OC. Hi, Mike.
What's poppin'?
Hey, what's poppin'?
Hey,
What's poppin'?
By the way, I was at the Angels game last night playing those Yankees.
Oh, nice. Nice, yeah.
Yeah, once again, ton of Yankee fans, Patrick, but good, fun time. We lost. Didn't score. Chris Taylor, I don't know what the hell he's doing on the Angels, but good game. Son and I, his friend, Grandpa, it was a good time. We went. By the way, Patrick, tomorrow's a big day. You know what tomorrow is?
Tomorrow is Thursday.
19th. You know what happened on May 29th, 1961?
What's that?
In Inglewood, California, Daniel Freeman Hospital, where Jerry Jones is also born.
You were born?
Little Mikey in Inglewood was born. Who later became Mike in the OC. Yeah, tomorrow I'm 64 years old, Patrick.
That is, you know what? Happy birthday to you, Mike. All kidding aside. Happy birthday,
Thank you,
buddy.
brother.
64? Hey, I'll butter you up a little bit before it gets awkward. You look good.
No, I don't think. The beautiful Italian.
Hey, do you think the beautiful Italian? Hey, let me ask you a question. I said we weren't going to talk, but do you think the beautiful Italian finds you attractive?
You know, that's a great question. I think so. Still, you know, it's funny. Yeah, I think so. I drive her nuts. There's no doubt I drive her crazy. I drive everybody crazy sometimes. But I get the sense, you know, almost 31 years married. Yes, sometimes I wonder, what does she see? I don't even get it. It's weird. Because I see her, she's just every day so, you know, she still looks great, she acts great, she does this and that. It's like, what the hell do I bring to the table? But
you still find your lovely wife. And how long have you two been married?
31 next month.
And you still find her beautiful, all of that.
Beautiful.
But 31 years in, do you think she looks at you and thinks that is my knight in shining armor?
No. I think she maybe. Listen, I still look all right. I mean,
yeah, you look great.
But she looks way better than me, I think. I look at the pictures sometimes.
Mike, we got to get down to business.
So what's going on? What's going on at this party? What's happening?
There's a lot of controversy, brother.
Like what?
Well, like what is going on? Just tell me. Just be honest with me.
Let me fill you in. Here's the latest update. I didn't hear the whole Twizzy. Did Twiz call you today or no? He just.
No, Twizzy tweeted that he's unfortunately going to not be able to go to the game.
What? Twiz? Why?
Not going to be able to go to the event on Saturday.
Okay. I called Beetle Decker today. All right. And I go, hey, we're a few days away. Cody goes, yeah. I go, you go. Oh, I'm there. He goes, I'm there. He goes, Michelle. I go, uh-oh, what's going on? She goes, you're going to hate me. Everyone's going to hate me. She goes, my friend and I are leaving town this weekend. Something came up. I go, you got to be kidding. She goes, I know. I really want to go. We're not going to be in town. I go, have your friend come to the party. So no Michelle Beadle. Cody Decker said he's coming. You're going. Zach's going. I'm going. I hear a few other listeners are going. What the hell, Patrick? It's around the corner. How bad could it be?
Dustin's going. Did you hear that the big guy's coming?
What? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No, he's in San Diego.
Well, it's possible that he's going to go. That's not confirmed. It's not confirmed.
Justin, now we're talking. We couldn't get Delhi, but now we'll seen each other in 6 years?
Mike, Mike, you said listeners are coming. Can you list them for us?
Okay, me. Okay, one.
We knew that.
Artina, right?
That's
Artina,
two.
whatever I'm pronouncing.
Yeah,
two.
Yeah, that's two.
Some of her friends, I guess, who's listening. I think so. What? We'll have at least 1, 2, maybe 4.
So
5?
we're at 3. We're at 3. Max.
All right, but Dustin, it's not always the number; it's the quality, not the quantity in life. Sometimes, right?
I got to be honest.
You know?
This
Dustin,
conversation is hurting my feelings. Like I do feel freaking bad now.
Did you know what got me?
Patrick, it's right around the corner for you. I got to drive from Orange County, for goodness sakes.
It's Mike's birthday, and this is happening.
And honestly, I wish I wouldn't have taken this call.
Brother.
I wish I wouldn't
Hey,
have done it.
Patrick,
I'm gutted.
if you commit to it, I bet you more people. Look at that. You're going to have. Who's that one guy? Frank in Brooklyn, right? Is Frank? Frank, get out here. Get out of
He
Brooklyn.
lives in Brooklyn.
What the hell? Formosa.
A little piece of that
Is it raining
Frank in
back
Brooklyn
there?
thing you forgot
Hey,
about. He's in New
he's-
York City.
He's acting
we
like
get
you're Ray
Babs out here?
Liotta in Field of Dreams. You're going to show up and everyone else will follow.
Hey, why don't we FaceTime Babs during the party?
Mike, I'll just say this. You are, honestly, you're a great guy. Happy birthday. But now we need to talk. I'm sorry. I had to hang up on Mike. I got to
I'm
be honest with
depressed.
you.
I'm so sad.
I
right
feel awful. I mean, shtick is one thing,
No.
but he's like I know you can't stand him, and I know the listeners can't stand him. I mean this. He's a really genuinely decent human.
No, he's not a bad guy. No. He annoys me because he reminds me of all of my parents' Jewish friends that I grew up with. Just like going a little bit too far all the time. We were like, I didn't need that. And he's just a little too heavily involved in everything going on here. But I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I am sad. It is his birthday tomorrow. He was very, very clearly making this like a not named birthday party for himself, inviting Mad Dog Sports Radio people. And now it's just not going to happen because everyone's bailing.
He's a nice guy.
He's a good
he
person.
really is. This
He's
is
annoying.
getting awkward.
He's annoying.
I didn't say he wasn't annoying.
I know.
I'm just saying he's a good guy.
He is a good guy. Does he deserve better? No, because he did set this whole thing up and acted like it was happening, and no one confirmed any details.
You know who might be the nicest guy in the world? What the hell is wrong with Cody?
I don't know. Cody's looking out for Mike in ways where I don't know if anyone's ever looked out for me. Flying across the country.
I'm going to have like a come to Jesus. Like, I feel so bad.
You might be taking Mike out for his birthday.
I'll put it. I can't. You know what? I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm not saying anything else.
Don't feel that
I'm not
bad.
saying
Don't feel that
anything
bad.
else. In the end, I got to be a human being. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. The Panthers have taken the lead.
Maybe I could buy Mike a cameo. Is Dog on Cameo? Get Dog to do a cameo for him?
Hey, you got me a Frank Ragnow cameo.
That
was a
was a
great
good
birthday.
one.
That was a good birthday gift.
He was only like $12.
That was tremendous. But the Panthers down 2-0 are up 3-2. 5:06 to play in the second. So you might have been onto something with laying a goal and a half. We are at halftime, and it is a 32 point lead, right?
33.
33-point lead for the Thunder.
33.
65-32. Thanks for coming, Minnesota. We're back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
On Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. up today's show. You see what I did there? Yeah. By finishing all of the conversations we touched on today. This is Closing Tabs.
All right, we'll close some tabs before we get out of here. Quickly, just update you. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Remember, you want to become a VSiN Pro. You can do it now for $19 through August 1st. VSiN.com/subscribe. Great deal. Everything we offer is tremendous. Columbus! Oh, I thought Columbus was going to get the go-ahead goal against Nashville. That's soccer, people. VSiN.com/subscribe. Promo code SIRIUS, $19. Can't beat it. The Thunder are up 65-32 at the break. My goodness, what a disaster. And it is, the Panthers have come storming back in Carolina. Down 2-0, 3 unanswered, big guy, lead 3-2.
No lead safe in the postseason except for the one that the Oklahoma City currently have, and they're going to win the West.
Well, yeah, what's the second half number?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me pull this up here. Second half, and it is Minnesota minus 1.5. Obviously, they're down 33. If they don't win the second half, fold the franchise.
Well, no, if somebody's just joining us and they don't know sports betting, none of this is going to make sense. So we should clarify.
Oh, yeah.
They're down 33. They are favored to win just the second half by 1.5. That means they'll only lose by 31.
Yeah, so I mean, if you have any sense of pride, you can cover minus 1.5. So that's where we're at with that game.
You would think. All right, big guy. Oh, man. Look.
Bummer.
There's a lot going on. We did not realize that Mike was throwing himself a birthday party at Hennessy's. We like to have fun on the program. Of course, we feel bad. We did not know it was his birthday. How would we know it was his birthday? So, Mike, you're a great guy. Apologize for that. We didn't know it was your birthday, dude. I don't have it in my calendar. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I might cancel all my plans and just hang out with Mike for like a week. I might take a week's vacation to hang out with Mike at this point.
You're a good guy. Bad. You might do it you might do it out of guilt. You're a good guy.
But then at the end, he would annoy me so much that I'd regret it. We both know that.
Man, I feel bad. Anyway, let's close tabs before we get out of here. It's melancholy now.
Tony in Detroit called in, mentioned the SGA trade may go down as one of the worst ever. Just a reminder, it was SGA, Danilo Gallinari, the Clippers' first rounder in 2022 that became Jalen Williams, then first round picks in 2024, 26, and 21, a bunch of swaps and lottery protected picks, all for Paul George. That's all that the Clippers ended up getting was Paul George. Earlier in the show,
hold on. Paul George, if you think about it, has been involved in a lot. Think about what he was also traded a couple other times where people got rich off of it. Indiana.
The two teams in the final both got to the finals on the heels of trading Paul George.
That's true.
Turning that into assets.
And George was a very good player, especially early in his career with the two-way ability, but he is not anywhere near what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander turned out to be.
No, and came back from that injury that everyone thought was going to be career-ending and still was good, but he has completely dropped off. Steve Phillips, earlier, talking smack about your Tigers. The easy kind of comeback for him is, remember the 2002 offseason, which I actually, in the moment, as a kid who was a Mets fan, thought it was a great offseason. But he went out and traded for Roberto Alomar, Mo Vaughn, signed Jeremy Burnett, signed Roger Cedeno, Pedro Estacio, Sean Estes, and that ball club went 75-86. So that is Steve Phillips there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You kind of have my back there. Steve's a nice guy. He really is a nice guy. And I don't know the context. But to say that he's quote unquote not impressed with the Tigers, they're the most impressive team in baseball this year.
Yeah. I'm also wondering, you briefly touched on the Stephon Diggs situation. I didn't realize he was sponsored by Prestige Worldwide, boats and hose.
I don't know what any of that means.
Step Brothers.
Yeah. Nope. That's a second movie reference I'm out on. But, yeah, good job by the Patriots. Who would have thunk that wouldn't have worked out? Right? An old wide receiver that Houston no longer wanted, add him to your young basketball team. 3-2, the Panthers lead. 33-point game at the break in Oklahoma City. We'll see you tomorrow. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.